Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Beautiful. That's it. You're official. You're on the podcast.
I've got my that's my musical abilities coming in strong there.
That's it. That's it, folks. This is Struan Urquhart. He's known as Remotorcycled on Insta and on YouTube. So if you've not checked him out, make sure you check out the channel. Struan, you were introduced to me. Thank you very much for coming on, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I feel honoured to be on your show. You've had all these big guests, and then it's really cool that you've allowed me to come on and just shoot the shit. Really, I mean, I think
don't be daft. There's no allowing it. I just want people, interesting people. You know, people that have got story and. I've been incredibly lucky the first few episodes that we've had some stonking guests, so long may it continue.
It's been great actually, because the first time I got tagged in one of your posts, I didn't know who you were initially.
Right.
Be aware there's going to be little cats jumping about and coming up here. Hiya, Brian. It was great to be introduced to you, and I was like, oh wow, now there's a new YouTube channel that I can go and have a look at and see that you've got loads and loads of videos and just loads of good content. So I've enjoyed going back through the back catalogue and just looking at some of these previous posts. The Bru Time with Chase was really interesting. I watched that. I had that in the background this week. So.
And he's a down-to-earth bloke, you know, considering he's like one of the biggest out there. He was such a chilled-out lad.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool guy. And then him, I hadn't heard of him either. I don't know, I must have had my head in a bucket for a while. I'm usually quite good with YouTubers and figuring out what's going on, but again with Chase, right? That's enough, Brian. See you later. With Chase, he was another one that I just loads of content I'm going to have to catch up on. So
definitely.
It's good to get introduced to all these new people that I didn't know about before. So it's cool.
Right, I tell you what, let's kick this off officially. Do you have a refreshment?
I have a selection of refreshments. I didn't know what one I was going to pick, but I think to be in keeping with you, if you're going to go the Brewdog route, I've got a nice OG Hazy that I've been recommended. It's quite a tasty one.
I need to try some others. I've only got the Punk IPA. People, thank you very much, but people keep sending me crate loads of this stuff. Thank you.
That's a good problem to have.
Definitely.
That's
it's not Brewdog. It's not Brewdog. It's just people that follow the channel. Thank you very much, folks. Right, Slange.
So, Slange, dude. Cheers.
It says. There we go. Beautiful.
That first sip's good, man. I got recommended this by one of my Instagram followers, actually. One of my internet friends, you know, the type that, like us, you've never met in person, but you just chat to all the time. Yeah, no, my real friends. So Jake the Tyndall, I follow him, and he was always recommending this one. So I get so many good beers recommendations because people believe I'm some kind of functional alcoholic up here in Scotland. So like, try that. Okay, maybe I will.
I'll tell you what, I've been out Scottish. I don't think you could be any more Scottish. Struan Urquhart with ginger hair, a beard, sitting there drinking beer. Happy days.
I know, I've actually got you can see it in the video that's recorded, but I've got a whiskey barrel next to me that I turned into a bar. So I think I'm kind of living up to stereotype as much as I can. So
you just need a Tunnix caramel wafer and a deep fried Mars bar.
You mean like this?
Yeah. Can Iron Brew.
Indeed. I saw you were drinking Iron Brew the other day. You were repping hard. That was good.
I thought it had to be done, yeah. It was 8:30 in the morning for Chase. So I was like, it's 1:30, I think it was here. I thought, I can't really get away with it.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Well, this is it. But I thought, I best not sit here cracking open a tinny.
Yeah. People will start judging you.
Oh, yeah. Right, I better introduce you actually, folks. If you've not checked out Struan's channel, his YouTube channel, or his content, basically, I'll do a quick surmise of it and then I'll hand it over to you, Struan, if that's all right.
Go for it, man.
But Struan is a custom bike builder who... Am I right that you sort of started, you set yourself the challenge to enter competition at the bike shed, and then you've pretty much sort of learnt the process and are learning the process as you go and documenting it all in your vids and in your content?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Happy days.
That's good. That's good going. Absolutely.
Thank you to Lee. Massive thanks to Lee for introducing the two of us, and it's brilliant. I've been checking Struan's vids out; they're well worth having a look. So Struan,
thank you.
That was a quick surmise of it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what got you started in this whole YouTube game.
So an engineer by day. I did a mechanical engineering degree at university, and got a job up here in Aberdeen. Edinburgh University.
Oh,
the best.
I
Come
did
on.
mechanical engineering at Strathclyde. Well, I did a year of
Did
it.
you? Oh, that's a shame. Did you not get in Edinburgh?
Very good, very good. I had too much of a good time in my first year, so I had to leave mechanical, and I did civil in the end. I did civil engineering.
Did you? Yeah. Well, there's always that weird. Between chemical are just weirdos, but then civil do just all they look at is bending beams, and it's the same course over and over again.
Yeah.
And then there's like the mechanical engineer elitism that just exists through and through. So yeah, it's I'm glad I did it. I really enjoyed it. So I got a job I did that in Edinburgh for 5 years, and I moved up to Aberdeen. And then I got a job up in oil and gas here. So I've been up in Aberdeen for about 8 years now, and only now just starting to understand what people are actually saying.
The like and loon.
I turned up and I was like, I'm pretty Scottish, but I haven't a clue what the hell these people are saying.
Farge bide, who's your dues?
Yeah, indeed. So, and then I realised quickly that engineering. I stuck at a desk all day, not doing anything. I didn't really have much of a creative outlet. So I've always been kind of mechanical, like helping my dad when I was younger, working on cars, and I had my own project car when I was at home, but I was missing something. So I thought, right, I got my motorbike license when I was at Edinburgh. No, after I left Edinburgh Uni, my first year up in Aberdeen.
Right.
I got my motorbike license. I'd always wanted a bike. So I don't know if you know Edinburgh Uni, but where the King's buildings are, you walk past a Harley Davidson dealership on the way to university, and every day I was like, I'm going to get one of them one day. And then pretty much went as soon as I'd earned a bit of money up the road in Aberdeen, I was like, right, I'm going to go get a bike. And I went with my dad, and we looked at them and found this nice Sportster iron thing. It was just meant it had straight through pipes and everything else, and I was like, that's cool. Don't turn it on, please don't switch it on. He turned it on, I was like, oh, okay, cool, I've bought a bike. So so that was my first bike. And funny story actually, was with my dad, and I was obviously like trying to buy the bike, and he's like, don't worry, I'll help you front the deposit. Don't worry. Here's the deposit now. Actually, just pay me back when you get back to the house.
Was he more excited than you? Was he?
Dad living his motorcycle dreams vicariously through me, I think. But so I had this bike, and it was awesome, and it was loud, and it was fun, and whatever. But I always wanted to customize it more. I was just too terrified to do anything to it because it was just a new bike, and I just didn't want to hack it up. So I managed to find a bike on eBay. I guess 160 quid was my first bike. Yamaha XS750, which is still in project stage. So with that, I thought, right, I'm going to do things. I saw there was the popular channels like For the Bold was doing like stuff with rebuilding bikes, and there's a few guys on Instagram were doing like and YouTube were building bikes, and I thought, no one's ever got it in one hub in one place. Like they always they maybe don't go into the detail. Like I'm a bit of a nerd. I love how stuff works, so I want to find out how suspension works to then see, right, if you're going to change it, this is the bit you're actually physically changing of it. So I wanted to create something. So I created Remotorcycled. It was initially my website, my blog, and every single thing I did in the bike, I documented it, and it was a great creative outlet. I was just able to write and be myself, and just really, I got a good following with that. People really enjoyed the stories and the mishaps and everything, and it was a really honest approach. If I made a mistake, I would say, right, this is crap, don't do it this way, do it this way, and everything else. And so then that bike, I bought a bike, so that was ticking along in the background. It was kind of growing slowly just through my Instagram and my blog, and I hadn't really touched YouTube yet. So then I bought a bike to do the North Coast 500, which is the scrambler that you've seen. And a week before the North Coast 500, I was like, I don't need two motorbikes. I'm going to sell my Harley, and I'll take the scrambler. The scrambler, I sold my Harley in the day that I was taking my scrambler out, and it shat the bed, the cylinder head blew and everything. I was like, I didn't want this to happen. I've now got no motorbikes. So I took my Subaru around the North Coast 500 and had a great time. But that bike ended up being a bit of a mission. I just had the engine in and out so many times that I thought, right, I'm gonna go and try and turn this into my project bike because it's a better project to start with. So
right.
I knew I'd already picked up some skills from what I'd done partially building the other bike, but I kind of set myself the bold target of saying, let's try and get it to the Bike Shed show, because I'd been a few years in a row, and I said, right, 1 year I'm going to have my own bike here. And So that January, I think it was, like, entries are now open for the Bike Shed show, and I crudely drawn a sketch of what a stickman type sketch of, I think I'd photoshopped someone else's bike, and I said, I want mine to look like this. It's in 100 bits, but please let me come to your show. And didn't hear anything for 2 months, and then it was like the beginning of March, and they're like, right, you're in. I was like, okay, brilliant. Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of working on it in the background, but there was like a huge step change that came with getting the bike accepted to the show, knowing that it was going to be seen by like 20,000 people. I was like, right, I need to get my wheels sorted. I need to get everything, just has to be perfect. And I'm already a bit of a perfectionist anyway, but I just went the extra level with that, and then I put myself under a tremendous amount of stress, and that's where these first grey hairs started coming through. So it was really, really stressful, but brilliant learning experience. But all the way through that, my Instagram started growing a bit bigger. I was trying to keep doing my blog. I started doing a little bit of YouTube, but the entire premise of what I was doing was, look, guys, if I can do this, like, I know how to hold an angle grinder and turn a spanner. Not much more than that. I'm teaching myself everything else. I'm teaching myself how to weld. I'm teaching myself fabrication skills. And if I can do this, then the chances are the majority of you can do this too. So that's kind of been, as I've done it all along, I've started to try and just set myself goals, set myself targets of things that I don't know how to do yet. So I learned how to do fiberglassing. I learned how to weld. I learned how to build a subframe. And these are all things that anyone can do if you've got the time and the buzz to want to get after it and try it and want to learn a new skill. So with that, this year I had like a couple of months off, not really touching anything, and I went back to the original XS750, and that's now the project I'm doing now. But I've tried to up my YouTube game a lot more. It's just I know that I can share my story, and it's just a learning in itself. Just like now, trying to use, so the Instagram thing's great. It's really easy. You can just make a post. You can speak to people. It's really casual. The YouTube thing, like you say, it takes a couple of weeks to make a video, and I'm really enjoying it this time. It's much more chilled than the pressure of the bike shed, but it's just it's really just quite enjoyable, just learning things. And
it's amazing, isn't it, between the two mediums, between Instagram and YouTube, how different they actually are. Because you think, well, you're just making videos rather than short videos and pictures, but it's totally different beast.
It's really. And I guess, I think someone, was it yourself speaking to, it was one, a girl on a bike, I think it was, you were speaking about all the various mediums, social media outlets, and Reddit can be quite scary, and it's quite a daunting place, because it bloody well is. I've posted some stuff up in there and it's gone down a complete hit, and other times you post stuff and you're like, man, I'm getting flamed, and I have no idea why.
They take no prisoners, do they, on Reddit?
It was absolutely brutal. Instagram's quite good. You get a nice community, a lot of cool people that you speak to. But I'm enjoying YouTube, to be honest. I'm in the early stages, but it's growing every week. Every time I put a video out, I tend to put quite long form content out. It's really detailed, but the people that follow it really enjoy it, which is nice.
Definitely.
And I've got a couple hundred people at the moment following me. I find that staggering that a couple hundred people want to sit and listen to what I say. And you must be completely blown away with 40,000 odd people that you could be speak to people for the rest of your life and still not get around them all and have a big conversation with them. It's nuts.
Like you look at it, it's 40 odd thousand, I think 41, 42,000 people at the moment, and you think, that's like a stadium. That's like a reasonably good sized stadium full of people that are watching me talk crap.
And it's brilliant. It's like I really enjoy all the reviews you do. The bike reviews are something I've really enjoyed watching. Especially the KTM one was hilarious because you just had such good fun with it. But the Harley one was the Harley one was funny as well. Like just this, you getting turned and actually liking this bike by the end, like thinking. And it's brilliant how you can just get the opportunity to do that. But I think one of the things I found strange was I had a fleet of people come down with me to the Bike Shed show, just like family, friends and everything. It was brilliant. I had all these supporters, but the amount of people, the random people that I'd never met before that came up to me and spoke to me, and they're like, "Oh, I've been following you for ages. I can't believe you made it. I can't believe you got your front wheel." And you're like, "Thanks."
Isn't that amazing, isn't it, though, when people come up and
cool.
you're just like,
who
I
the
can't
hell are you?
believe...
They would like introduce themselves by their real name, and I was like, "What's your Instagram name?" And it was like, I can't remember who it was, but someone was like, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, we've had at-length discussions. I've met you before. It was really cool, and I think it's just, I just enjoying this whole nice community that seems to be around, especially bikes in general. People just seem to have a passion for it and love speaking to other people about bikes and stuff. It's cool.
Online, you get the odd walloper. You do get the odd walloper, but I think I've certainly been really lucky with mine. That the vast majority of mine is it's really positive. People are very supportive, and I've been very lucky with my community. So thank you, people.
Yeah. I think it's the you see, and it is the annoyingly, and it's just the way the human mind works. That walloper is the one that you're like, that pisses me off. Why, like everyone else is like, oh, great job, that's really good.
Yeah.
That shit. Why did you do it that way? It's like, well, get off your armchair and do it yourself if you want. Like it's like it's easy to sit at the side and cast stones and don't get me started.
I've found generally I do try not to take stuff personally, because like the written word, social media is the worst way in the world to communicate with somebody, because you can write something and I can read that and take it umpteen different ways. Do you know what I mean? I can take it very positive, I can take it negative, I can take it that you're having a pop, and I think it's the Celtic blood in me. Sometimes I just feel the blood go up and I'm like, ah! And then you think, no, chill, just chill. You don't know how it's been, how was it meant?
I found I'm the same, and the initial reaction is, who the hell do you think you are? And then so sometimes I'll type something and I'll be like, right, I'm gonna go away, and then I come back, and then I kill them with kindness, and I'm like, thanks for your feedback, really appreciate you taking the time to support what you're doing. Have you got any suggestions as to how you would do it better or anything else? And then often it's like, sometimes there are helpful people that just
absolutely.
Idiots and don't know how to tell you how, like, it's some people lack the ability to tell you a nice way or just in a civil way how something should be better, but for the most part it's I think killing them with kindness is enough to be like, oh right, okay, that's embarrassing, what I actually meant was this. Like, well, thank you for your help, you bellend.
And also I think I've you bellend, I've bit back a few times and people have gone, whoa, I didn't, that wasn't meant the way you've taken it, just chill. And then you're like, you've got to sort of swallow your high horse. I find myself just having to go, I'm really sorry, I fucked up there, sorry. Let's start again.
Friends.
Friends. Right, so if you've watched this, you know how this works. I post up on my social media and people post loads of questions, and we'll start with Patreon, always over with the clan folk. Patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one we got here is a chap called Darren, Cobra Builder. Darren's asking, he'd like to know, where can you source cheap bikes to start with the fabrication? Oh no, to start with, the fabrication isn't a problem, it's just getting a cost-effective starting point. Darren, he sort of does a lot of like custom build cars and that sort of stuff himself.
I think he followed me actually after you posted up.
Nice
and
lad.
I was straight away, I was like, he's
right into his weights.
I was like, man, that guy's pretty swole. He said he looks pretty cool. But then he had the second page. It was all these cool custom cars. And I was like, that's nice. But so I mean, cheap bikes. That's something that. So I got really lucky with my first build. The one that's not finished yet, the one that my neighbour's actually storing in his garage because there's not enough room in my garage. But it was luck. It was 160 quid on eBay because it was up in Aberdeen and no one wanted to go and get it.
Right.
I think fortunately, a lot of people are taking to building bikes now. So it's that whole supply and demand thing where it becomes more and more difficult to even find a tidy bike initially, but to find one that's running that maybe doesn't need a huge amount of work. You'd be hard pushed to get one, I think, for under 800, 900 pounds. But for the ones that are popular, like your BMW R80s and your Honda CB750s, you're really struggling. in the UK at least. In America, they seem to be really fortunate at just being able to go into a barn and pick up a bike for $300.
Yeah,
I struggle. I seem to find the lowest priced bikes you can get are maybe £500-600, and even then, for a base bike, they're maybe not the most desirable things. They're maybe like they're not got the tubular frame of like a 70s, 80s vintage bike. They're maybe more like the early ZZR style, mid-90s style bikes that you can be creative with, and you can try and do something quite cool with the design. But for people looking to just quickly pull it all apart and see, right, here's a nice looking bike underneath, those kind of bikes they're getting more expensive. So yeah, to anyone in here, and to answer your question, I don't know. I've managed to get lucky, and sometimes it's you hear through people that have maybe got a bit of a train wreck bike. And in Aberdeen, for example, there's Breaking Point, and they have that's a bike scrapyard, and they have bikes that are too good to really just break down and sell into parts. So they'll maybe sell them, but you'll seldom get one for less than $1,000, really. So, so that's the bike that I've got, the XS750. I'm a bit of a hoarder, but at the start of the year, I bought that bike for 160 quid, and I bought that a few years ago, and I never got it registered. It came with a V5, even though the guy had just lost it, allegedly. And I waited 3 years until it was stripped down before I tried to apply for a V5, and the DVLA were like, oh, once it's all back together, we'll give you it. But I was like, but can I just have it now, please? Because I don't want to go and spend 1,500 quid on parts and yeah. And then they're like, no, you have to put it all back together. I was like, but I'm going to change the colour and I'm going to do this. And they're like, yeah, it really has to be back together. So instead of me being, oh God, what can I do? I hopped onto the forums. Forums are maybe a good place, actually, forums. And I managed to find something on the Yamaha XS750 forum. And someone was selling the black bike that's in my garage now for 800 quid. And I was like, right, I'm just going to buy that. And it was a solid bike, all the bits were there, but it wasn't running, it wasn't together. But I believe the guy that it's all there, and it's enough for me to start the project that I wanted to. And I can try and look at the other bike as a cheap bike that I can put together. I'll sell you that XS750, the other one there.
There you go, deal. So you're saying about forums. What sort of forums? Any ones in particular?
I don't know. I struggle with forums. I used to, when I was a bit younger, when I was doing my Volkswagen, there was a Polo that I was modifying, and I actually found there was quite a nice forum. Everyone was quite supportive, but I've asked a few times when I was doing my TT600 Scrambler just for help, and they're like, you get some grumbly old bugger that just believes that you shouldn't be doing anything close to touching a spanner, even though you've done a decent job. And what if you're asking this? You shouldn't be working on a bike. And I'm like, no, I know what's wrong. I just wonder if anyone else has had an issue and you can help. And I really struggle sometimes with forums, so I tend to just lurk and see if someone else has asked the question, and if not, I'll be like, I'll figure it out. But the Yamaha XS750 one's quite good, but I think it's all. I don't know. Do you find yourself on forums a lot or anything?
No, I seldom go on them, to be honest. They're apparently a very good place if you want to try and grow your channel in terms of subscribers and stuff.
Right.
It's to find a couple of forums and Reddit as well. Find a few subreddits and forums and stuff, and get yourself known there, and then you can start feeding your stuff in. But there's an etiquette all around, like Reddit in particular. You can, if you just turn up and you post a link to your vid, it's like you've shat in their kid's mouth, and and you're just like, come on, give me a break.
I know. So I made just a short video a few weeks ago, and it was me blasting around Scotland. I took a few nice pictures of my Scrambler, and I set up my SLR, and I did a few buzz-bys, and the bike sounded great, and it was a cool video. And
that looked beautiful, by the way. I saw that on Instagram. I saw the ride-bys on Instagram. That's gorgeous, wherever you were.
It was just Tire Bagger, just outside Aberdeen. But it was, I put it on Reddit, and I just had bad experiences before, and I was like, I thought you guys might like this. Turn the sound on. And luckily, the picture was the start of the video, so they saw this great picture of the bike, and then there was a drive-by and everything else. And it went down really, really well.
Cool.
But I found myself each time clicking on to see what anyone said. I was like, oh, what's happening? Please be gentle. I don't know how I've offended you, but please be gentle.
Yeah.
And in the same vein, you're right. I put a post up and said, here's my blog. It may be funny, it may not be, because it is quite funny. It's humorous. I take the piss out of myself all the time, and that first time it was brilliant. My website got like 20,000 views or something,
Wow.
up from like the 10 views that my mum and dad used to give it daily just to be sure that I was getting some traffic. So it just spiked, and it was brilliant. But yeah, I tried to do it again, and like, actually, people like to participate, and well, you need to actually communicate, and please just let me promote my stuff selflessly.
Yeah. So basically, I've done a few for UKGSR. I was on that quite a bit, and when I had a Tuono, I was on the Tuono ones quite a bit. But well, not quite a bit. I registered accounts, but I didn't really post too much on there, to be honest. I've got the time. It's this now. I've gone full time with this. I can't quite understand how the hell I had a full time job as well as this, because this just literally takes up. I was chatting with Chase about this, Chase on Two Wheels, and he's saying he's got a strict 6 o'clock deadline. He finishes at 6, and that's it.
I like that. That was quite a cool.
It is,
that was quite a cool way to manage that.
I couldn't get stuff done. I'm literally working till 10, 11, midnight, sometimes 1, 2, and it's 7 days a week. It's like I don't know how he does it. There's people like Andy Missenden Flyer. He's certainly, he'll say himself, he's eased off this year. He's only putting out 2 or 3 vids a week now, which is basically what I put out, and I'm working 7 days a week. Whereas he used to put out 5 to 7 vids a week.
That's huge. That's like, I think I'm 1 every 2 weeks. I try and post on Instagram a couple of times a day and just I'll extract some of my content, but like stuff for YouTube, it takes even 3 times a week. That's the feeling I get when I do a video. I'm like, I can rest for at least a couple of days. Oh shit, I need to record another one. Get out to the garage and go.
I'm literally like I might take a day off, like just a day off from editing. I'll be filming, and I'll probably catch up on the comments and the emails and all that on Patreon with all the messages and everything on there. Thank you very much for sending the messages. But like as far as editing, maybe a day off a week, I suppose, and then bang, you're back in it. But I love it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love what I do for a living now. It's
really cool that like you're living the dream. Actually,
absolutely.
That's really, really cool.
Definitely. I am. That's living the dream at the moment.
That's brilliant. That's really cool. And it's because you were a policeman before. Was that right? Yeah. Yes.
Just erupted. Never mind.
It's I've been working all the way through this lockdown. We've just been working from home.
All right.
So just I don't work offshore yet, but when I'm a 9 to 5 or 8 till 5 or whatever. So I find myself having to get up super early, just 5:30, get up so that I can spend a couple of hours doing the thing that I feel passionate about, whether it's try to design new t-shirts or try to get out into the garage and film something, or just try and it's weird, you just cultivate. You don't really have you just try and grow it, and you try different things to grow and make new content and think about, and having that, if you were working full time, that must have been manic before you finished.
It was just crazy. I mean, I was lucky in my old job that my old job in the old Bill was based around, like, in the military stag. So it was like a sentry, basically. Basically, I was a security guard with a gun around the diplomatic premises of London. So generally, you're on post for an hour, 2 hours, occasionally maybe 3 hours, and then you'd have an hour or 2 hours off, downtime. And people think, 12-hour shift, you're only working, say, 7 hours out of it. But it's fucking hard work, standing there with like 4 or 5 stone of kit in all weathers. It's physically, it's tough going. It crucifies your body. But then in my downtime, I used to take my laptop in with me, and I could just sit and do an hour of editing, or hour and a bit of editing, and so you just make it work.
Did you always have the burning feeling that, like, if I was to get more time at this, I could just
absolutely,
and that was probably just to help the driving decision to help say, right, I can do this. I can do this. So.
I came back from I wasn't happy, but I had no idea what I was going to do. Then I went away and did my trip, and I came back from the trip, changed, different, and never really felt like I fitted in. I've covered this umpteen times, people will be bored of it, but I never really felt like...
You went around the world, right? On a
yeah,
motorbike.
well, I mentioned it. Yeah, and I sort of came back and, just something wasn't right. And I thought, But then after a few years and I got YouTube going, I sort of started YouTube properly end of 2016, I think. And that started doing quite well. And a couple of years at that, maybe a year or so ago, I actually resigned myself to just thinking, well, do you know what? I'm happy just plodding away, doing my thing. I can do my trips and my vids, and I'll fit that in around my day job, and my day job's a bit of security. I'm okay. Literally, I made that decision, and then I went on my police bike course at work. I went on that course, I came back, and my first day back at work, I got called into the skipper's office, the sergeant's office, and he basically said, you're not going out today. I shouldn't tell you this, but you're being served a 163, which is a notice of intended prosecution by Internal Affairs. And I was just like, what? And it was literally, I just made the decision, I'll just trundle along here. Then that happened. Yeah. Fast forward a few months, and these arseholes, one governor, an inspector, she made the decision that I was a disgrace to the police, and I had to stop all social media activity. And at that point, it was just like, well, so it's either a choice of the old bill or doing what I love.
Yeah.
See you later, so that was it.
Absolutely. That's the decision was an easy one
Massively
to make, right?
easy.
It was,
it's a total leap of faith. I had some money saved up just because for a few months, well, probably for a good 6 months, I'd been thinking, I'm not happy. I'm just gonna rein things in and save a little bit, and I'm so glad I did, because I went full time. A week later, lockdown happened, and all my sponsors went.
Yeah, I heard that. Oh my God, what have I done? I made a horrible mistake.
All my tours were cancelled, and I was just like, shit.
Yeah,
but thankfully,
that's a shame.
Everyone's come back and it's working out.
The world's getting back to normality hopefully now, a bit more.
How's things up there?
Apart from America. Yeah, it's fine, to be honest. It's a bit. I mean, Scotland's been a bit more strict with the relaxing of the guidelines, but I mean, we're now able to see more people readily, and it's. I had my nephew was born during lockdown, and it was. I wasn't able to see him. I just saw pictures of him, and then even when we saw him, you weren't really meant to hold him or see him either. So it's like this. I've still not held him. My mum and dad. And it's kind of weird, this whole, you're waiting on an email or a government announcement to say it's safe now, and you're like, okay, I guess it is safe. But it's just this weird. It's a weird. It is, time,
isn't it?
really,
Yeah, I can't make my mind up about. I don't know. You kind of. You got to do your thing, haven't you? I can't.
I've not found it too bad, to be honest. I've probably drank a lot. I've got an Impreza, and I have literally replaced my horrendous fuel costs with beer costs. So it's not as if I've been like, I've saved 200 quid a month because I'm not driving to work anymore. Yeah. It's like, I'm probably actually spending more because I'm petting Brewdog like it's going out of fashion, especially at the start of lockdown. But I've been quite lucky. I've got the garage, I've got the gym out back, I've got my guitars at home. All my hobbies they're at home anyway. I hate people, so I don't really go out anyway.
I was gonna bring up the gym, because Jesus, you post some of your gym work on Instagram. Fucking hell, man, that's some weight you're shifting.
If it wasn't for that gym, I genuinely think I'd be obese after this lockdown. So that's been the saving grace. No, I'm going quite fortunate. I've got a friend that's. His name's Cast Iron Strength on Instagram, but he's a full-time strength and conditioning coach, and he's used to train Edinburgh Rugby, but I'm good friends with him. And I met him when I was at uni, and he was into powerlifting, and I'd been lifting for a while, and I thought, he's like, you should get into powerlifting, give it a try, see what it's like. And I was like, okay. But straight away I mistaken powerlifting for eating everything in sight, so I used to have quite a bad habit. Do you remember the old days when you used to be able to walk into Greggs with 40 pence and you'd walk out with like 3 carrier bags full worth of shit that you just well, like, it got to the stage where like it was called the Greg's diet, and I used to get called the Thumb because, well, you can figure out why. It was kind of a bit chubby, but and I didn't have a beard to hide it. But I used to go into Greg's, and it would be a sausage roll, a link sausage roll, a pastry sausage roll, a fudge donut, a yum yum, and a pint of tea with 3 sugars every morning. Yeah, and I'd smash like 1,500 calories before I got to uni. And the guy used to be like, "Oh, is it the usual, boys?" And like we were like, "Right, it's time to stop going to Greg's because it's getting out of control." So I was able to get quite strong in uni, and then I realised I looked like a fat piece of shit, so it wasn't really quite appealing anymore. So I kind of leaned down, and I've kind of always I've maintained a lot of that strength ever since. I had a horrible trapped nerve last year in my arm, and it meant I lost about 8 kilos and a lot of strength.
Jeez.
But that literally, I got the all clear. They gave me like what was it called? Nerve conduction study. I got one of them done at the start of the year, and they were like jamming needles into your hand and running electric shocks, everything down it to make sure it was. Yeah, and to be honest, they gave me the all clear, and I think that was like a mental barrier that was like, okay, so it's nothing serious. Before then, I was just kind of couldn't really do much, slept in a splint for about a year. So if you look at my videos from last year, I'm quite a bit smaller and thinner, but it's been good just to get back into the weights again. This lockdown's been really good for me. I feel bad for the folk that haven't been able to do much with the gyms closing, but with me, I've been quite lucky to offset the beer belly. So no, it's good fun. I like it. It keeps me. It gives me something to do. I've been doing it so long now that it's just a thing I do in my day. It's not a huge hobby. It's my level of fitness. I go in and lift some weights and get it over and done with. So how about you? Do you
No.
much?
I used to. I mean, I used to be fairly heavy. I played a good level of rugby. I trialled for Scotland back in the day, but I didn't make it. I trialled with Jason White, the old Scottish captain. I used to play against him at school. I went to uni with his sister. Hi Joanne, by the way, if you're watching. I went to uni with his sister, and it was just weird, like Jason and I both trialled. He made it, I didn't, and then I just sort of watched his career, and it was like,
yeah. Go Jason!
I literally sort of, I think I started playing for Strathclyde Uni. I broke my leg, and that was pretty much the end of my rugby days. I had a couple of games for the Met when I moved down to London, and that was it really. And I've just got fatter and fatter ever since.
I find a beard is a great way of. It's also a horrible way because like you put on weight, you don't realise it because you've got this big beard. But it's also a great way just to be. So I have visions. The reason I'm trying to grow my hair, like it's not purely a lockdown look. I'm trying to grow my hair, and I have visions of me looking like Thor out of the early movies, and I think in reality I might actually end up looking like Thor out of the later movies. When he's like that fat alcoholic that's just wears sunglasses all the time.
I think you'll be alright. You got that body dysmorphia or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm the same. I've got no chin. Even like when I was fit, I had no chin.
It stops.
Yeah.
Stops
that's what I'm
here.
like. Yeah. So this just sort of gives me some illusion of chin.
It's a mighty beard actually. It'll be.
It's getting there.
Double. Is he going to keep growing it?
I've been growing this. I've been growing it without cutting it. Well, that's lies. Every year I give it a wee trim, but it's just a maybe a half inch or an inch off it every year, and I've been doing that for 5 years now, I suppose. I think it just gets to a length, and then that's it. It's not really going to go much more.
Yeah. It's cool.
Cheers.
I like it. It's a...
Right, we better crack on with some questions here.
Yeah, shit, sorry. sorry, folks.
See, the last few podcasts, I've been lucky to even get through the Patreon questions. We used to clear all the questions and have a chat, and now, nah.
Your man was Chase was
4 questions.
He's like
four questions.
4, so we'll get a few more. Come on.
We might have to start doing yes and no ones.
Do you like bikes? Yeah, they're fun.
Stuart Bailey, how does Struan see the future of custom motorcycles with the emergence of electric bikes and the associated complex electronics? And do you think hydrogen plays a part in the future?
That's a cool question actually. Anyone that follows the custom bike scene will have noticed actually the bike shed last year had its own room for electric bikes. which was quite
Wow.
cool. And I think the majority of them were like small, I'm not going to say cottage industry, that's not the right word, but there were small manufacturers that had decided to develop their own bikes, and they were all on display there, and there were some really cool looking bikes. And I think with that, that always brings an element of there's something new and it's a new platform. So someone's already done the hard work, they've made something. So you might maybe not have a bike that you want to go and tinker and make a lot faster. And to be honest, if you could, I think seeing some of the videos of these electric bikes, you probably don't want to make them much faster, but there's a foundation there. There's an engine, so to speak, that you can then customize. There's still bits that you can add your own element of design onto, or things that you want to personalize yourself. So I don't think the emergence of custom bikes, electric bikes, is going to hamper folks' creativity in terms of how they look. I think the element of maybe saying, right, I'm going to bore out this engine because it's a 6-cylinder CBX and I want it to sound like a race car, and I want to make it. You won't have that mechanical element that you can kind of make things quicker. But I still think there'll be I think there's been a few good ones on Bike Exif where you see people have actually just taken the power plants themselves, because like we said, there's probably nothing wrong with the power plants, and they're only going to get better and better. Battery life's going to get better and better. So if you can overcome the shortfalls potentially with a lack of sound and a lack of that atmosphere that comes with a bike, but make it better by enhancing it the way it looks and making it your own, I think it will still survive. And I think that's going to exist through the car industry as well. I mean, I love the sound of an engine, and I love the smell of petrol, and it'll probably take me a long time to come to terms, but there will be a point in my lifetime where there will be things that are purely electric or even hydrogen based. I don't know where we're at in terms of hydrogen based technology. I know Honda have got that, the car they've tried to commercialize and run off hydrogen, but I think there's one along the road from me actually, and it's about 80 grand. And if you give me 80 grand, I'd rather buy a used Audi R8 V10 manual and do that. So like, it takes a certain type of person to pay that technology, pay for that technology, and for that to become miniaturized and packaged up into a way that it looks like a motorbike. It might end up actually looking like a sidecar with a motorbike to be able to handle all of the additional gumming. So I think electric bikes, yes. I think hydrogen powered bikes, there's probably a question as to, is there a real commercial benefit to running something like this? Is there enough motorbikes in the world? Yes, there is in Southeast Asia, but is there enough in the world that dictate the benefits of clean burning energy that a hydrogen-based bike would bring?
And apparently,
if it does, then
the economics of it, it's not efficient enough. Hydrogen isn't as efficient as electric.
No.
So that apparently is a massive drawback at the moment. I had Alec on from English Electric Motor Company. Don't know if you.
They were at the bike shed.
And he's a really interesting guy to talk to, because he comes like yourself. He's a custom bike builder from his origin, like into petrol and everything like that. And he reluctantly ended up sort of sampling electric bikes and fell in love with them, and that then led to his business now with English Electric Motor Company. So I had him on to have a wee chat about it, and it was quite interesting to hear from him, because you have lots of people, lots of critics, don't you, that say, this, it's, what about all the pollution from manufacturing the batteries and the disposal of the batteries, and you need power stations to produce the electricity in the first place. So it was interesting to have somebody like him on to not necessarily dispel a lot of these. Some of them he was like, that is the case, but the only way that's going to improve is if there's more demand, and when more demand comes, then the money and the investment comes, and it is definitely. I think it's not going away. I mean, look at Tesla as an example, and there's the stocks, however you want to view that, and everything else, but the value of them is the most valuable car company in the world, and that speaks for something. It has to. I think it will filter through. Technology is going to get better. The infrastructure to support all that's going to get better. And to be honest, look at the car that's set the Pikes Peak world record. It's electric. Look at the car that's set the Goodwood hill climb. It's electric. There's no denying that ultimate speed probably does not come, point to point speed probably does not come from a combustion engine. It comes from something like the torque, man.
An electric motor.
Is phenomenal.
So you've read them,
loads
haven't
of
you?
them, loads now. They're phenomenal.
Are they?
It's insane.
They look fun.
I was very much an anti-electric person. You know, I'd never driven an electric car, never wanted to drive an electric car. When I was approached by Alec at English Electric to take a bike out, I almost turned it down because I thought, it's not fair.
Yeah.
I am not going to give that a balanced review. You know, I hate the mere thought of it. But in fact, I kind of said that to him in an email, and he was like, "No, look, I appreciate that, but just take one out." I was the same. Just take it. If you don't like it, we're fine with you saying you don't like it. It's not a problem. So I went, okay, right. So I got the bike, and I fully expected to tear it up for arseholes. I really did. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. The range is shit. The range at that point was shit. Now it's on par with the likes of a Tuono, you know, that sort of thing. You get about 80, 90 miles out of it. Riding it normally, you'll get 80, 90 miles out of it. But the only difference now is, whereas with a Tuono, you pull up at a petrol station, 5 minutes to fill up with fuel, back on the bike and off you tot. With them, you're talking minimum of 20 minutes to do a charge, maybe 40 minutes now. 20 minutes with the Energicas, 40 minutes with the Zeros. But you know, it's come down a lot.
There was Zeros at this. Yeah, they're not cheap though, are they? The Zeros were at the Scottish Motorbike Show, and I was like,
it's a lot of money.
Punchy as yeah, it's really expensive, but I mean, it's the same deal, right? It's new tech. It's the first people that want to do it, the pioneers of wanting to have new tech. They're happy to pay that price for it, and then it'll fall to the normies later on when the prices reduce a little bit and everything else.
It's the future. It is going to happen, but you know, like I keep telling everyone, there is nothing to worry about. It's just, and there'll always be petrol. There'll always be internal combustion.
Yeah, petrol's here for our lifetimes at least.
Yeah.
I think.
Right, next one. David Hemmings. To Struan, what's been your proudest piece of work and why?
So, the rolling my bike into the bike shed onto its plinth with my nameplate that was misspelled because it's a really difficult name.
Struan Urquhart. What's wrong with Struan Urquhart? Racists.
No, they missed out the T's, so it was Struan. I was like, Struan Urquhart. I was like, man, thanks, I guess. But that, being able to roll the bike on, and it was quite emotional. I was so stressed. Like I don't know if you watched the story I put the other week about, I literally got the bike finished the day I put it into the van to take it. I got the wheel. I'll have a look at my Instagram. There's a story about me ranting about companies that Amazon Prime doesn't exist for motorbikes. Who knew? Right, so it's not all next day delivery. So there's a big lesson.
It's never next day when you need it to be next day.
Oh no, God, that was stressful. So being able to roll my bike and just feel proud that it didn't look out of place. It deserved to be there. That was cool. And just having and then it didn't actually go through its MOT last year. I only got it through its MOT this year because of some other issues. And being able to ride it around is another great achievement. But having it at the bike shed show was cool. That was actually someone trying to buy it at the Scottish Motorbike Show. That was cool as well. Someone saying, "Is it for sale? How much is it for sale?" And I was like, God, I don't know.
Would you sell it?
I think I will. I want to be sure that. So I want to ride it and enjoy it, but I also want to be sure I'm selling something that's been completely shaken down, stress tested, and everything else. I don't want to hand a bike to someone, especially when I'm trying to build something out of this. Like I'd quite like to get to a place where I maybe do a few bikes a year that I can sell to people that. I want to be sure that what I sell is of the quality that I believe is as high as it can be. So yes, I would sell it, but just not. I'm going to get my miles out of it. I kind of want to go do the North Coast 500 on it because that's the bike I was meant to go do the North Coast 500 on it. So, and I need to speak to you actually about what the best. Just one camera and one mic setup, so I can just ride and chat shite and record good roads and just do like a 5-7 day vlog thing. Imagine going up over Applecross and that, just having the.
Mate, if you want to do a joint thing, I will bite your hand off. You know, you do your own thing as well if you want. But if you want to do something with me, I'll be well up for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be keen for that. That'd be, and if it breaks down all the way, we can use all your all your different sponsors to help get Struan a KTM to get him around the North Coast 500.
Because I'm like that with money me. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And then Brewdog could sponsor us for night times. God, this has turned out to be a brilliant
Sounds so
trip.
easy, doesn't it? Not just the funny thing is, right? I've tried a couple of times. I've messaged James. I think it's James and like the main Brewdog Instagram account. I've messaged him a few times just to say, look, I've got this podcast. I started drinking your beer and it's become this regular thing now. Be great to maybe get you involved somehow. I'd love to chat with you. Never heard anything back. Thought, fine, fair enough. Loads of other people have now got on it on Instagram and they're tagging me and all Brewdog stuff and messaging them. But still nothing.
So I mean, they're just up the road. I could go and speak to them if you want.
Brilliant, thank you.
With or without a bat, either or. Like I don't know what approach is going to work, but yeah, that would be cool. Imagine something like that. You'd know you'd made it then when people were supporting you with sponsored beer.
It was really weird that, because I remember before. I remember hearing about this beer that had started back up Port, because I'm from Mintlaw, up near Peterhead, Fraserburgh.
Yeah.
And obviously their place is in Ellen, isn't it? And which is just down the road, more or less. So I heard about this beer, but it was sort of a cult thing, and that was that. I went away on my trip, and I turned up. I was in Japan, and I was out with some people in Japan walking down. It was right near Fukushima, you know, the nuclear place that. Well, the city. It was really cheap, so obviously I went there, booked into a hotel because it was nice and cheap. So I'm out in the street going from bar to bar, and I go in this bar.
Like an extra arm growing out.
Yeah, and they had Brewdog in this bar, and it was like, what? Eh? And the Japanese were going crazy for Brewdog. It's like, wow, this has got big.
Did you? I guess you were like you like your whiskey as well, do you know? Yeah. Were you like a kid in a candy shop over the other side with all these weird Japanese whiskies that are really difficult? At that point,
I wasn't. At that point, I was not into my whiskey. I'm late to the game with whiskey. I met my father-in-law, obviously when I met my missus, but he is right into his whiskey. He's an Englishman from a place called Retford, north of Nottingham, and he is right into whiskey. So the first time I met him, he was like, you're Scottish, right? Both opens up like this treasure trove of whiskey cabinet. Yes. And I'm like, because I did not like whiskey by that point, because the only time I'd had whiskey.
You got any grouse? I want to put some grouse and coke together, please, mate.
When I was about 13, 14, my best mate at the time, Roy Thane, you bastard, Roy Thane, I was at his house after Christmas, and we were sat in his living room, and he raided his dad's drinking cabinet and he poured me half a pint of whiskey with some water in it, and he gave it to me, and I'd never tried whiskey before. It was like grouse, bells or something, and he's like, there you go, have that, because I used to have, I don't think I've got any more, but I used to have a really good swallow. I could down a pint in like 2 seconds. So he was like, hey, I'll get that down you. And I was like, oh no, it's horrible. And he was like, quick, my dad's coming, drink it. So I was like, fuck, stalled it. So scald like half a pint of whiskey with half a pint of water, and he did that to me 2 or 3 times. I kept falling for it, knocking it back, paralytic, absolutely paralytic, comatose. He had to take me, like I was throwing up blood and out in the streets at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't touch.
That would like level a full-grown human as well. Never mind.
I was like 14, and I could not touch whiskey after that. But then I meet my father-in-law, and he's offering me whiskey. I'm like, I'm going to have to man up here and try it. So he'd pour me a shot, I'd drink it, and it was proper malt whiskey, it was nice. So I'm like, right. Nice, so I go pour him one, and I'll pour one a little bit bigger, and we drink that. So he's like, so he a bit bigger. Next, we're drinking like full on glasses of whiskey. We had a bottle and a half.
Bottles don't last
bottle and a
long,
half of whiskey between us, and we were paralytic. And literally from then on, I've liked whiskey. So that's
it. I've got into it in a big way. More recently, my brother, he's got a fantastic collection of like he must have about 40 bottles, 50 bottles just in his house of nice ones that he's accumulated over the years, and the odd one that you just have as a go-to. But we went as a family a couple of years ago to Isla, because my mum used to go there when she was a kid, and she wanted to take us back there, and we were like, well, yeah, we'll go to Isla. Funnily enough, we don't care about the island, but there's all these distilleries here. It's literally whiskey haven. So that. Oh yeah, and Ardbeg and Bruichladdich, which is one of my favourite whiskies, is from Isla, and it's cool place, very cool place. Have you been?
No, believe it or not, my first girlfriend, my childhood sweetheart, Sandra McIntyre, she was from Isla, and I always, when I started getting into my whiskies, it was like, oh god, Isla, yeah, I remember Isla.
Yeah. God, I miss Isla. I mean, whiskey. God, what?
Right,
dear.
Enough of that. Let's get on with questions. Tony Hannum. Question for Struan. Which do you find easier to custom build, the old style bikes or the newer bikes? I.e. the old school bikes versus the gadgets on bikes these days?
So, I mean, I'm still early into my bike customization career, but the mechanical engineer in me is less daunted by the fact that you haven't got countless pressure switches. I mean, I watch the guy Thornton 100 motorcycles guy Jody, can't remember his second name, down south, and he'll rip a new Triumph apart, and there's like these alarm tilt sensors. He's having to build brackets just to fool the chick sensor. He's got a guy in to help him overcome certain parts of the canvas wiring, and it just confuses the hell out of me. I think for me personally, my comfort zone is something older that's it's easy, it's simple, it's mechanical. Yes, there's still electrical systems, but the electrical systems are the lights or the alternator and the ignition system. I think my next plan after this is to try and find a bike that I can get in ready supply, that isn't expensive, that I can say, maybe like a KTM LC4 or something like that I can say, right, I know I can always get one of them. What can I do to it? How can I get customizing these in a way that it's not an assembly line, but you just kind of get really well known, and it's not the most complex bike in the world. It's not got all these horrendously difficult engine internals and everything else, and it's something fairly simple. Whereas, if someone was like, oh, can you customize my new GS, I'd be like, nah, sorry.
It's just a tractor. It's a tractor. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I think I'd break it. I'm sorry. Older is best, especially for people. So I'm going to put a post out soon about 6 things I learned from building my first bike. So like one of them is bike selection and everything else, but for people looking to get into it, the older things make it a little bit, don't go and cut up a 1950s beautiful Triumph, but like there's a certain area of things that before they get really complex, like do what you want. If you like whiskey, if you want to drink it with Coke, it's your whiskey, you do what you want.
Just never talk to me ever again.
Just get the hell out of my house before I slap you.
Right, next one. John Broadhurst. Another question. John works on the bin. He works on the bins. Funny. He listens to the podcasts whilst he's doing the bin run in the morning. And he's got all the lads in the cabin listening to it now. So hello to everybody. Another question from the bin lads for you both. Which would you rather do? Trap your finger in between the chain and sprocket, or stick your tongue on the hot downpipe? Oh, Jesus.
Tongue. I don't know why I said that so quickly, but for some reason burning my tongue doesn't seem as bad as mutilating my finger, because those sprockets are spiky as hell. Jesus Christ. And there's no, like, it would crush you. Maybe it would lift would it lift the chain? I don't know.
It'll take the tip of your finger off. We had a skipper at work, Tony Spalletti. He was cleaning the chain on his bike, and he popped it in a paddock stand, whacked it in first gear, had his cloth on there, give it a wee spray, and while he's doing it, he got his finger caught in it, and his finger went straight through the trap between the chain and the sprocket, and it took the tip of his finger off.
No, thank you. I think, that I'd rather lick a downpipe, which is something I don't think I'd ever say, to be honest, out loud. But please, bring it on. Give me that downpipe.
We're in the modern days. Don't worry about that. Be who you are. And anyway, we're used to having dodgy accents, so if you've got a tongue that doesn't quite work, who cares? That's just the way it is.
Exactly. People will be like, are you Aberdonian?
You'll sound more like from the Western Isles, though, wouldn't you? When you
yeah, exactly.
Right, next one. Pete English. What is the most unprofessional thing you've seen someone do?
Well, in general, or just in?
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it in both, in work sense and in bike sense.
Oh God. Like in bike sense, like I'm not going to name and shame people, but you see things. Nah.
No,
like you watch,
you
sometimes see things and you're like, I can't. You can tell people are taking shortcuts because they know, like, it's a thing that won't be seen. But like, it doesn't matter if it's not going to be seen. If it's your work and you're putting your time and effort into it, it's going to be. So I guess from a bike sense, unprofessionalism for me, and I have seen it time and time again, is just when people are like, it'll do. Oh, no one's going to see it. It'll do. Let's just throw it back together. Or, are you going to change that? Nah, no one will see it. Yeah, but you're trying to sell this. Like, someone's trusted you to buy something, and you're. I don't know. The mindset is, and that's probably why I'll never be a successful. Not the same bike builders. Like the time I agonize over things that people will never see is probably too far the other way, because I'm like, oh, that's not perfect. That line doesn't line up with this, and doesn't line up with that. There's probably a happy medium between the two of it, but you do go to these kind of shows and you think, oh, like that's going to be a 20 grand bike, and that's probably not how it should be in my opinion. So professionally, I've worked offshore before, so I mean I probably can't share a lot of those stories before. It's just like
my dad used to work offshore. He was a quantity surveyor in the oil and gas, so he's worked all over the place. He's got some stories.
Yeah, I mean, general. I mean, you'll have seen it. God, you'll have seen your fair share of assholes with the police, and it's. I think in a professional scenario, just people who are let their emotions get the better of them and get really angry. Or I don't think I've ever been. It's not a lack of passion, but I don't think I've ever been to an extent where they feel the need to shout and scream in meetings or belittle someone or just kind of. It's at the end of the day, it's a job, but at times you do see that. So. From an unprofessional point of view, you do see it. It's just people being dicks, to be honest. They shouldn't really.
It's just part of life, isn't it? It's just being human. Nobody. I don't think there's a single person out there. You can prove me wrong if you like, but I don't think there's a single person out there who's perfect all the time. Everyone has. Well, not even off days, but everybody will make an incorrect decision at some point. Yeah. It's just life, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Agreed. Yeah. I think what's yours? Have you got any bad ones? Do you remember?
For me, I think with me, I can bite. I can bite very quickly without. If I don't take a little step back and just go, right. Yeah. Let's chill. If I don't, then the proper Scottish temper can come out, and I, and I need to watch that, because a lot, like 90% of the time, there's no need for it. 90% of the time, it's just me. I've interpreted it wrong, so it's just chill, or maybe somebody hasn't meant it the way it's come across. So I am.
But you got to be sure that they haven't meant it the way that you said.
This is true. This is true. But then I kind of. This sounds bad. Before I joined the old Bill, I was a doorman, a bouncer in Glasgow. Mm-hmm. So contrary to what everybody thinks about that, I think we were quite. My little group that we had in the clubs that we worked, we were quite a professional bunch. So you would talk. Hitting somebody was a last resort. So you would always try and talk your way out that situation and de-escalate it whenever you could. Sometimes you can, sometimes sometimes someone just needs sometimes they need a scalp, sometimes they just need, you've got to do what you've got to do. But 9 times out of 10 you can rectify a situation. That's the same in the old Bill. Generally you can placate people if you talk to them. You've got to keep that authority, but you can generally de-escalate a situation. There are definitely times when you can't. There's definitely times when you can't, and it doesn't. It's not pretty. It does get ugly.
That's that's your job. That's why you're like that. I guess unfortunately it's a shitty job sometimes, but that was what you had to do.
Exactly, and like you said, I'm not going to name names at all because everybody has off days, and I would pretty much lay my life on the line to say that I've not consciously worked with anyone who I thought you're an utter liability, and you need to be taken out the uniform.
Yeah.
There's some idiots, but generally most people's hearts are in the right place. From in my experience where I've worked.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's all I'll say about that. It's
But
particularly.
if you're listening, Stephen, I mean you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's particularly political at the moment, isn't it? So
Yeah, indeed.
Cheers to that, Pete. Alan Bell, this is for both of us. What gives a truer representation of Scotland? Braveheart, train spotting, or restless natives? What's restless natives?
I don't know what restless natives is. And annoyingly, my head went straight to train spotting, which is quite unfair, even though the guy with the most Scottish name in the world sporting the big ginger beard, that should probably say Braveheart, but I don't know, it depends where you go. If you go where you go in Scotland, like you I watched one of your the ride out, the 24-hour thing you did up to you didn't get all the way up. Yeah, exactly. You have to turn around and come back, and you were driving through Glencoe, and it was absolutely stunning. And to me, it's amazing. Like that, it's breathless. It's Scotland. It's beautiful. But then, the same vein, you go to parts of Glasgow or Dundee, where I grew up near Dundee, and I'm not going to say any more because you've got any Dundonian followers. But yeah, there's bits of it that are a bit scummy and not very nice to be around.
When I grew up, they said Dundee, it's the arsehole of Scotland. That's what people used to say. Now, Jesus, it's beautiful.
Look at the waterfront. It's got a Malmaison. It's got a big V&A. Did you ever see a V&A anywhere getting placed? Would it be Dundee? 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
But I've got mates who are either Dundonians or they've moved up there and live there now, and they're all like, man, you should see this place, it's stunning. But in my head, it's still that shithole we used to drive through on the way down to London to go and see my mum's family.
I know. So So probably a mixture of both, Alan. Without the patriotic killing of English people as well, which was obviously the other side of Braveheart.
In our heart, we're Braveheart, aren't we? And I think that probably is a lot of Scottish people. You're fiercely patriotic. You're loyal to your people, all this sort of stuff. But train spotting is definitely a lot of the cities. All these BAMs and Jackies.
Exactly. Scumbags. Good question.
Aye.
Alan does his it's a shame he didn't get his ride out this year with the Fire It Up for autism.
Oh yeah,
that's Alan, isn't it? It's,
well, next year will be a biggie.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be good. Be good to see it all come together. So.
Aye.
Go over to Glasgow, go over to Ireland for it. So
definitely. Well, I'm hoping. I don't think. Well, I'm not going to make this year definitely, but next year is going to be a busy year. I'm over to the States next year. Oh, let that one out the bag. I'm off to doing that. And Ireland definitely for sure, and a few other things as well. So next year should be a good year, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Just got to pay for it now. Right, Mike McGee, for road trips, what tool do people never take that they should? Never take that they should.
So you'll be a much more seasoned veteran than me in this. But to be honest, shaking down a bike more recently, which has subsequently had its exhaust fall off, have its number plate fall off, I preempted all of that and threw in so many tools into the back of my bag that just went, I think I'll need this trusty adjusty. I'll probably need this entire 3/8 spanner and socket set, and I'll probably need these pliers as well. So, but having said that, before, if I wasn't shaking down a bike, I'm horrendously unprepared because I don't tend to do long trips. So you're probably much better versed to answer this than I am.
Well, I was similar to you when I did my world trip. I took a load of tools with me, which came back every bit as clean as they were when I left, because I took the tools, but I still don't have the technical knowledge to use them. So it's just like, what's the point of me carrying these tools? I think now I generally don't go anywhere without some cable ties in my rucksack, and generally I've got a roll of gaffer tape, and I've got a puncture repair kit and a first aid kit in my rucksack.
Yeah.
That's it. And I've got my phone. That's all I need, because if I break down, I can phone someone. If something falls off, I can gaffer tape or cable tie it. If I get a puncture, I can plug it and get back on the road, unless it's shredded. But I think I've got enough on me when I go. Generally, watch this. I'm going to Scotland tomorrow. I'll probably forget all this and be stranded.
Yeah. New bike. Let's go.
I know. Yeah.
Garage door wide open. Just
go on. Left it. But I think generally now, gaffer tape, cable ties, puncture repair kit, and a first aid kit. Bosh. You can print in your phone. You can tackle anything, really, deal with any situation. So, yeah.
Good.
I think out of all them, probably, do you know, out of all them, what should you do? I think the sensible option would be to never leave without a little bike. You know, you get these wee bike first aid kits. Never leave home without one of them, because, you know, if you have an accident and you slit your arm open, I suppose, mind you could rip your shirt and use that to patch it.
And the gaffer tape to pull it back together.
Aye, exactly.
And the zip ties.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think, what one bit would I never leave home without? I suppose my phone.
Yeah.
I suppose my phone, because your phone's your you can it's your sat nav. You can call for help. You can. Sort all your problems, as long as you've got a signal. Your phone's the one. Probably my phone then, yeah. Right, Mike McGee. Oh, another one for Mike McGee. What is the least reliable bike you've owned or tried to fix?
I've been I'm still very early into my bike ownership career. I had my Harley. I had a ZZR 600 briefly for a bit that I couldn't ride because of my nerve pain. So I literally took it home on the world's fastest trip home and rode it around for about 50 miles and had to sell it because it was the whole leant over position. I couldn't actually ride it. It was just too sore on my arm last year. Had a Honda Rebel. To be honest, the Scrambler that I've got now, because it shat the bed, even though that was my fault. I probably could have noticed that there was maybe a cylinder head leak. I had this, and you've probably had it when you go and buy a bike, you get blinded and you forget to ask questions.
Shiny,
you're like, look at that bike.
Shiny.
1989 Scrambler, that's the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. Get me that. Do you want to hear it? Yeah, turn it on. Oh, that sounds good, let's buy it. And so that had a few issues and it broke down a few times, but I mean I've had a relatively short bike ownership life in terms of the amount of different bikes I've had. So I think my Harley, my Harley broke down.
No way.
I was going through a bit of a bad patch where I'd ended up having to split up with a partner and I had to buy my own house again, and I was quite strapped for cash, and my Harley was the only thing that I enjoyed at that time, and it started misfiring, which was quite difficult to tell on a Harley at the best of times, but it did start misfiring. And I tried to get a local Harley guy to look at it, and he's like, I don't know what's wrong with this. And I was like, right, okay. So Harley came and picked it up and took it down the road, and they were like, oh, it's the ECU's gone. And I was like, what? Wow. It's an 8-year-old bike. 7-year-old bike? How the hell's the ECU gone? Yeah, it just happens sometimes in these things. And I was like, all right, well, there's not much I can really do, is there? So, and they're like, yeah, it's going to be 1,200 quid to replace it. And I was like, oh, all right, I just can't really afford that. Okay, that's fine. And then they're like, and because you've got the Vance and Hines short shots, you need a remap. It's a stage 1, so you're going to have to pay for a remap as well. And I was like, can I go without remap? And they're like, no, not really, because it'll be, and they were probably speaking the truth, to be honest. I think it was like 1,400 quid out of nowhere. This bike just died, and I was like, this shouldn't die. It's a tractor. It's an old clunky heap. It's not something that should suddenly break. So Yeah, probably my Harley, actually. I'll leave the Scrambler out of this. My Harley was quite unreliable and it stung me a lot of money. And I quickly sold it after that. But it's one of these things, leaves a bad taste in your mouth, isn't it? Like, you spent a lot of money on it, you should keep it. But in reality, you're like, oh, I hate this bike. I'm going to set it on fire.
There's two that spring to mind with me. When I came back from my trip, I decided I wanted something different than the Gixxer, and I went, and I'd always wanted a Tuono, so I went and bought a brand new 2014 V4R Tuono. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, amazing. Had an Austin Racing slip-on can. It's like a plant pot, you know, the GP1 can. This thing was so loud. It was amazing. It's the most antisocial bike I've ever owned. Loved it. But oh god, within 4,500, I rode it down to Spain. I raced my mates on a ferry. I rode all down through France. Obviously I got there in like 12 hours, whereas they're on a 24-hour crossing. So I like got to Bilbao and it's like sit around for 12 hours.
Go back to the Pyrenees and go up over the hills again.
But by the time I got back, I had like 4,500 miles on it, and the bike just started to be an utter pig. You know, it would.
Really?
I'd pull up at a roundabout as you came up to like the entrance onto a roundabout. You sort of pull the clutch in, have a little look. Right, I can go now. Let the clutch out, hit the gas, and the bike would die. And you're like, oh. And it kept doing it.
Nothing inspires confidence like a bike dying when you really need it to not.
Exactly, yeah. And then, like, you know, I was still in the old bill at the time, so you know I was leaving the house at like 5 in the morning, 5:30, and through the winter, the bike was just like, you know, I'm Italian, fuck you, this is too cold for me. I'm not having this. So it wouldn't start. Oh, it was a pig. So I ended up getting rid of that, and then I had a 2015 Triumph Explorer, which was amazing for about the first 4 months, and then I took it to Wales with my wee mate Si, and we were doing some recce runs for some trips over the Brecon Beacons, and we're caning it. We're having a really good time, and the engine blew up, and it's because on those Explorers the oil and the coolant is kept side by side, and it's separated by like a 10 pence piece sized rubber seal, and that seal failed, so the oil got into the coolant, solidified the coolant couldn't get around the engine overheated. So that was that. Back to Triumph, they fixed that, and then it was just literally in the space of the next 4 months it went back 7 times. Like the CO2 sensor came loose. Oh god, the main gasket went. There was all sorts.
You want it to be. Yeah, not that stuff not so much stuff shouldn't go wrong. Yeah. Like, it should just be, I bought this and I want to enjoy it. And yeah, there may be teething issues now and again, but yeah, that's a long, and it definitely probably dampened your enthusiasm to keep that bike as well a bit.
It did, because at the time there was 4 of us, 4 of my mates. We all went within a couple of months. We all went from sports bikes, and we all ended up on Triumph Explorers. It was just that stage in life where we were all like, oh my god, these things are comfortable, they're actually easier to ride, they're quicker below sort of 70 mile an hour on the roads, and it's like, what's the point of having a sports bike when you can we all went onto them, and every single one of them had no issues whatsoever on their bikes, whereas I had
a Friday afternoon bike,
proper Friday afternoon bike. You do get them, don't you? You do get them.
Yeah, shame.
And it's a shame, because it did dampen my spirits for that bike in particular. But I've started to do a few Triumphs now. I've got a couple of Triumphs coming soon, actually, and it's
have you?
Yeah. I can't wait to start trying them and seeing.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be cool.
I've got the new RS, the new Speed RS. Taking that to, I think I'm taking that. It's either the Pyrenees or Picos. That's coming. It's coming on one of my trips with me, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. Up in the mountains would be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be brilliant. That'll be so good.
Yeah.
Such a chuckable bike as well.
I've never ridden them. Yeah.
The triple's 3-cylinder. Yeah.
It is,
the speeds are the 3-cylinder ones.
They are, yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Speedies. Nice. I think the Speedy was the old 675. Now it's is it 775 now? It's gone up anyway in CC, I think. Yeah, and then you've got the Speed's the big one. The Speed's is it the 11 or 1200? And the Street is the smaller one. I think.
I just like the speed triple from Mission Impossible 2, where he's got the one with the twin headlights.
Yeah,
And I was like, that's the most badass muscle bike. Yeah, it's cool, man. So cool.
My mate Wee Sai, he's triumphed through and through, and he took the I think he put the single headlight conversion kit on it, and it looks amazing. We call him Yoda. He's one of these riders who's, he's been riding 50 odd years, and he literally gets on a bike and he's so at ease, so comfortable on the bike. It's just it's something to behold, like that's cool. Canes it along the road, yet he's as chilled out as you like, just one-handed, and everyone else is hanging on for dear life, and he's just like all right, whistling away to himself.
I'm not a quick rider, really. I've been on fast bikes. My mate from work gave me a shot like I had my Harley. So I'll take this out, and it was a ZZR 1100 1997 thing. It was like the fastest bike before the Hayabusa came along, that kind of thing. And I was like, all right, cool, let's see what this thing's all about. And it was terrifying. It was brilliant. It was so good. I've never felt speed like it. But like on a bike compared to a car, like I love cars as well, and I'm way more confident going quick in a car than I am, just because I've been a boy racer that's grown up that's turned into a boy racer again with the Subaru. I love my cars. I love going for a fast drive in the cars. Nice. I love bikes as well, but just I'm not that quick a rider, to be honest. I just like being out and about in them. And just it's fun going up the hills, going over the left, giving it boots over the left and everything else. But if someone in a super bike wants to come past me, then go for it, man. You're a braver man than me. Just
I used to be so much quicker, but I've had my fair share of offs now. Some are my fault, some weren't, and that's definitely slowed me right down now. But to be honest, it used to piss me off. I used to be like, I used to be so much quicker. What's going on? Whereas now I'm just happy now. I'll go at my speed, and if you want to overtake.
The ability in a bike to go. You've got the fastest thing on the road, regardless of what bike you've got. Maybe not a 125, but like anything with at least 50 horsepower is going to be able to get past a car really easily. And once you get that in your mind, you're like, I've got a quick thing here. It's brilliant. It's good fun. You can just
but you need 200 brake horsepower. You need it. You need it. You need a supercharger.
You do, exactly. I would kill myself so fast in one of those H2s. It'd be good fun, but God.
yeah. I've never ridden them. Do you know Lamb Chops? You follow Lamb Chops?
I think yes.
Lamb Chop rides. He's bought one. He's got an H2, and he's a hooligan anyway. Lamb Chop's a good boy and can ride. They look terrifying. The onboard videos of them, you're like, oh my God, that's. You need to watch. Well, as I know, you need to watch now, because if it's on camera,
you're very good in your videos. Actually,
I have to be now.
I had a good laugh at when you're like. On your KTM video, you were so subdued. I was like, man, just turn the camera off and go and hoon that for a bit, and then turn it back on. Oh, this is so speedy, up to 70. God, look at that.
I'm sure people realise that when the cameras aren't rolling, you're enjoying yourself. But you have to play the game, don't you? You've got to screw the nut, and it really hacks me off when you see these idiots on YouTube and they are caning it, wheeling, doing on public roads, blatant public roads. A lot of the Americans are bad for that, and you just think,
it's
no wonder people hate us.
Exactly.
Like, just
have fun,
play
but
the game.
Don't be
play the game on camera. Play the
game
on camera. If you're going to enjoy yourself, but don't document it for the entire world to see.
I know.
Anyway,
like us on the North Coast 500. Look at Bruce do 180 on the Apple Bus.
No. 18.
80, 70, 60, 67. Yeah,
whatever the speed limit is there,
yeah. This is a 40, you maniac.
Right, next one. Nick Turnbull. Question for Struan. Is there an ideal donor bike to work on? For example, is there an engine configuration like a V-twin that works best to customise, or does anything go?
I think I put something up again on my Instagram earlier in the year, just at the start of lockdown. I was talking about what makes a custom bike. Like, sometimes the ideal custom bike is the bike that you've got sat in your garage that you've had, and you don't want to get rid of it, but you want to do something to it. But if you were to go and choose something, for me it's the engine that does it. Like, I love something unusual. Like, my Yamahas are the single cylinder is a unique bike in its own. It's a 600cc single cylinder, so that's got a lot of character. It sounds quite rough and ready, and then the other bikes are triples, the first mass-produced 3-cylinder bikes, I think, and I've designed an exhaust system around getting the most out of that engine, and getting like a nice 3-into-3 sound where you hear each cylinder independently. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And that, for me, it's the engine that's drawn me to these bikes. And if I was going to pick a bike, I would probably pick a V-twin, because my Harley, it was slow and it was kind of shit, but I loved the engine.
Yeah.
Like, the engine was, the noise you get off it is phenomenal. Like, as much as I probably get flamed here, I don't really like the 4-cylinder high rev and stuff. It's cool. They sound all right, but they don't do much for me. I like a bike with character. So for me, the ideal bike is maybe one that's got an engine. Or for me, it's one that's got an engine. It's kind of unique, and it's something that's maybe got a frame that you can change slightly if you want to, and you can modify and make it a bit easier. That's why these BMWs are so popular. They're quite unusual. They've got the Boxer twins, but they're quite easy to work on and put your own style on. So yeah, I mean, it's all dependent on what you like. If you like fast, high revving bikes and a 4-cylinder, then by all means you can take one of them and turn it into something really, really cool, because there's plenty of options out there that have got the ability to modify quite easily without feeling like you're in too deep. You're not cutting a monocoque chassis in half and trying to figure out how to weld it together. There's options where those kind of bikes exist in different forms that you can modify. So, but for me, the next bike I think I'll do is something that's loud and angry, like a nice V-twin, just to maybe quicker, maybe try and make it quicker, maybe just kind of, I don't know, just. For me though, the heart is the engine. It's the thing that defines the bike.
All right, we're back in the room. Pee break. Yeah. I've given up.
Yes,
I've given up trying to do like subtle.
Choose the biggest.
What was
Blend
that?
it in.
I'm giving up on all
I was freaking out. I was like, is he going to want to? Because I saw yours was like 2.5 hours. I was like, man, if I can last 2.5 hours without having to go for a hose, I'm doing well.
No, we always have pee breaks in the middle of it and all sorts. Yeah, don't worry about
you're not allowed to go. This is one take and one take only.
Yeah. You just hear this water running halfway through the podcast.
Yeah. Please, Bruce, I need to use the toilet.
Yeah, what were we chatting? Oh, ideal bikes, wasn't it?
Yeah, buy the biggest V-twin that you can afford, and then turn that into a custom bike.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, I always used to be all about the inline fours. Like, I used to love the sort of, with the Gixxers, you get them to 8 or sort of 9,000 revs and up, and then
the way they sing by
that
there,
scream that you got, the Gixxer scream. Oh, I loved it. But you're doing insane speed by then. It's just ridiculous. So when I sort of discovered the Aprilia, that V4, it's just, I still think that's the best engine ever. I love it, but it's
tremendous amounts of torque with it as well. But it's still quite a high revving thing, right?
Yeah, but it's just at that point, 2014, it just wasn't reliable. It was such a pig.
It's a shame. My friends, a guy I used to go to school with, has got one of the. What's the super bike? What is it? The RSV4.
RSV4, the Aprilia, yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of them, and I've heard a few videos of it, and it just sounds phenomenal as well. It's
best sounding bike out there. That and the new R1, the crossband.
They sound so. I heard one the other day, and it's like that's nice. That's a nice sound.
Beautiful. It's like proper MotoGP, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant purr off it, and then up high it just again sings. It's brilliant.
You get a bit geeky, don't you? You start being able to tell what bike's what by the engine note.
Yeah, so there's a Ducati that runs up. It's a scrambler, but it's got Termagoni pipes in it.
Nice.
It goes past my road, and my dad was in the garage the other day. I was like, "Oh, there's that Ducati." So we go past, and he looked, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I can just tell these things." Interestingly, the off-camber sound of the Ducati L-shaped twin engine. You become a real nerd with it.
Right, next question. Trucker on two wheels. Hi guys, question for both of you. If you had to choose one bike to own for the rest of your lives, what would it be and why?
I don't know. I've got a hankering, and I can't get out of my head to go and. I said to myself I wouldn't go and buy another bike on finance because I wanted to be able to buy it outright. But the new Indian, the Indian FTR 1200 just appeals to me on so many levels. It's 120 brake. It's a V-twin. It's like a flat tracker, and it's kind of this cool new, badass looking bike. And I kind of want to own one and see what it's like. And if I own one of them and it was brilliant, then I would probably keep it for the rest of my life. But so that's the one that's in my head. I'm like, I can't get that one out of my head. But I've not ridden one, so I might try and see if I can get a ride of one, and then subsequently buy it and then banger myself, because why the hell not?
You only live once.
Yeah, indeed. So probably something like that, because I do struggle with like bent over. Like I fear that's not going to get any easier the older I get. So if I can get something that's flat trackery, kind of upright style, but got enough poke to scare me, but it's got enough character to keep me when you press the line button.
I've got a perfect bike for you. BMW R1250 GS.
So funnily enough, there's a BMW showroom. I was based in a client's office in Aberdeen, and it's right along all the car showrooms and the bike showrooms. So every lunchtime I used to just go and wander and have a sit on them, and I put my leg over one of them, and I was like, I need to see what it's all about. And then lockdown happened, and we all had to get work from home. What's it like?
Do not test ride one unless you're going to buy it. Unless you're comfortable with owning one, don't test ride one. Having said that, I know a couple of people, not many, I know a couple of people who've taken one out and come back and gone, it's a lot better than I thought it was, but it's not for me. And fair enough, it's like anything, isn't it? If you've tried it and it's not for you, fine. But I used to be one of them that used to be, fuck that, I'm never take GS wankers, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Then I rode it.
Now you love them. Now you're a total fanboy.
I genuinely do. It's, oh God, everyone's going to be like, shut up about the GS. It doesn't tick every box. It's not the biggest hooligan out there by any stretch, but it's capable. It is capable. I'm doing a track day on it next week, actually. I'm at Brands next Wednesday, so hopefully I don't throw it up the road. We'll see. But they're capable. They are definitely capable.
Yeah. No, I like the one you've got. Looks
nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
looks
nice.
nice.
So my friend came round with a Africa Twin the other day. Like a while ago, same deal. I hadn't really been that enamoured with those style of bikes, but I threw my leg over it, just sat in it when I was on the drive, and I was like, I can see this being a nice bike to ride. And
they sound good.
They do indeed. Yeah. And it was the one with the gold wheels and the blue and the white, and similar to your BMW. And I was like, I do see the appeal, especially for, like, my Scrambler's not something that I'm going to take thousands of miles, and you kind of ideally need something bigger engine like what you've got, just to crunch the miles up a little bit and feel comfortable on it. So maybe I should buy a new bike. You're right.
See, I've sort of just given up on to me, this is the first time I've ever kept a bike for like longer than a year, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Well, apart from my Jigsaw that I took on my trip, that one I still own. But every other bike, literally, it was like between 8 months and 16 months, I would chop it in and just kickstart another finance deal, because I was young and younger and stupid.
But you can, and like, if you're happy with that as an outgoing, then for sure, why the hell would you not? Because you can get a new bike each time. Like, it's
a couple £100 a month, and you get like you've got a 20 grand, 25 grand bike. Bosh.
Yes. Why would you not? Yeah, that's a really good shout, actually. I think I should go and test drive that Indian FTR.
Do it.
Yeah.
I've never ridden an Indian, actually. Oh.
So that one appeals to me. I threw my leg over it at the Scottish Motorbike Show, and when they first coined that concept, I was speaking to the Indian representative at the Bike Shed show, because it's based off the 750 flat tracker that they do in the States. Like they do a lot of the flat trackers, so it's kind of based off that bike. And he was like, "Do you like that?" And he's like, "Yeah." Well, wait, there's something in the pipeline. And I was like, "What? They're going to do a road going version?" He's like, I didn't say that. And I was like, but you did, right? So they're going to do a road go version. He's like, yeah, keep your eyes. And it came out and it was one of these things that the concept looked like what it should look like. And it apart from the exhaust a bit shit, but you change that. But yeah, and I was like, that's really cool. That's if I was to go buy a new bike, that was probably what I would get. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So long as there's a bit of a downturn going on in Aberdeen, so long as I don't get laid off, I might have a look at it.
My mates were saying that. There was a shed load of people laid off. Yeah, I've got a lot of mates in the oil. Crikey.
Yeah, it's a bit shit. You kind of got. I'm lucky in that I deal with decommissioning, so I kill oil wells for a living pretty much. So that's like the first part of the decommissioning is killing the oil wells and making sure they're all safe and just dismantling them.
Yeah,
that's what I do. So hopefully, unless there's some like
moving into Bru Time for you.
Yeah, exactly. So we should be okay. That's going to keep me in the job. But yeah, it's always good to make sure you're in the clear, and then I'll buy the bike. Then I'll get the new bike.
Nice. Right, okay, well that's us done with Patreon. Now we cross over onto Instagram. What do we have here?
I think my friends put a few in there actually.
Margus514, rubber gloves and angle grinder. What's that all about?
I think it's the picture I had with me with my shady HSE policies where I don't know. Yeah, it got to take a cool picture, right? And the sparks were coming up over my biceps, and a lot of people on my OnlyFans account really want to see that kind of stuff. So
your OnlyFans, brilliant. Isn't it weird how I noticed that you if you post something up even with me remotely technical, because I don't do anything technical, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Like if I ever have to wire anything up. You get people that know what they're doing, and they're just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you did it that way."
Yeah, it's, and that's where the entire premise of the whole Remotorcycled thing was, I don't know everything. I've got a mechanical background, and I love nerding out about shit, and I'm 99% sure I could figure out or point you in the right direction of someone that knows. Like, come speak to me. Like, I'm more than happy to say, do you want to put a loop on your cafe racer? Well, cool, I've done a blog post on it and here it is. And the stuff is quite evergreen content that I can just point in people's direction. Oh, you want to do your own seat base? How do I do it? Well, have a look at this blog post, or come give me a shout. This is how I did it. Yeah, it may not be the right way. I'm pretty sure it is, but if someone else disagrees, that's fine. But this is how I've done it, and I've got a seat that works. So, and that's what I'm doing right now with the whole wiring thing. I've kind of taken it down to first principles, and yeah, there's probably another 10 guys that have probably done that on Instagram and YouTube and everything else. But if someone wants to use me and I can provide, if I can do a video and it helps one person make their bike project easier or solves a problem for them, then I've done my job. That's the whole thing for it. So, but yeah, there's always dickheads that know more, and that's fine. But you should be the dickhead that's actually helping people, because if you know more, you're an asshole because you've not told someone. Instead of saying, I can't believe you're doing it that way, that's stupid, that's wrong. Well, have you tried it this way? Because this way is actually better. I have experience in doing it this way. This is why you should do it this way. Yeah. Thank you, that's really helpful. But generally, you're right, you don't get that. You just go, why are you doing it that way?
Take the mick by all means. But then,
for sure.
It's the old shit sandwich, isn't it? Take the mick, but then point you in the right direction.
Absolutely. So,
and again, I am lucky because people always take the mick because I don't know what I'm doing at all. But most people tend to go, try this, try that. So I'm lucky.
This is an easier way, and they don't make you feel stupid by doing it. They're just saying, there you go. I mean, you probably should have done it that way.
Yeah, this won't blow you up. All right, thanks.
Yeah, it takes at least you put it out there, though, right? That's one of my things is I make mistakes. Who cares? You learn from it. If you're not learning, you ain't living.
Exactly, it's life, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't all be perfect, otherwise we'll be the Missington Flyer. We're here. Right, Nicky Nutsford. What other YouTube channels do you watch? Oh, you mentioned a few earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I kind of... YouTube's better than... So until Disney Plus came along and had The Simpsons on it, God, I've been rewatching The Simpsons and reliving my youth. But until that came along, I still do it. I binge out on YouTube. So I've got a few channels. From a motorbike point of view, Alan Millyard. I don't know if you've watched any of his stuff.
Only because of Andy Missenden Flyer. He's mentioned him, and he's done a sort of interview with him as well. Yeah, crazy.
He's brilliant. Really old, like just proper talented English engineer.
I was going to ask if you knew of him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Love watching him. I watched Jish as well, another bike builder guy. He's about 40,000 followers, same as yourself, and he interviewed me at the Big Shed show actually. And his one interview of me, it's the videography in that is like a million and one times better than anything I've ever done. So I'm just like, oh, you want to see about my bike? Well, look at this thing that Jish did. Like, look at that. Look how good my bike looks in a video that someone else has done. I'm quite weird. My girlfriend will come in and she'll be like, what are you watching? I'll be like, an axe restoration video or something, like one of these like really chilled out videos of someone just building stuff. So I watch a lot of like restoration videos. I watch This Old Tony is quite good. I don't know if you've seen him. He's like a machinist guy that's just, he's really popular, like hugely popular. But Donut Media is good. They're quite good. They're like a brand in the States that just doing loads of really good stuff with cars. And yeah, it's kind of obviously the Mr. TeapotOne is one of my new favourites.
I've heard he's a legend. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, he's quite nice. I watch him quite a lot, obviously, but and like loads of like guitar stuff. I'll end up actually trying to learn a song, so I'll go right. There's someone's done a solo lesson for this song, right? I'll put it on, and then I'll just watch an hour of someone like teaching you how to play the solo with no guitar in sight, and I'll just be like, man, that's how you play that solo. That sounds really difficult. What's next? Oh, look at that. I wish I could learn that. This guy's broken it down for us. Let's watch that for 2 hours.
You end up down the rabbit hole, don't you, with YouTube?
Yeah.
Jeez.
How about you? Do you have anyone that you kind of keep going back to?
I've got I watch the main. That sounds really pretentious. I don't mean it to sound like that. I watch TMF, Lamb Chops, and Richie, Andy Mancam, Likeable Rider. Sort of for me, they're my sort of solid base of moto vloggers. But I've got to admit, I don't watch it religiously just because I haven't got the time. But then I like a lot of tech channels, so I watch iPhone Do. Have you ever heard of him?
Okay. No.
Turkish guy, lives in the States, does absolutely stunning videos. Stunning. The cinematography is just out of this world. And his stuff is all sort of tech based, but they're brilliant. There's a guy called David Manning who's exploded onto the scene about a month ago, 2 months ago. He had about the same amount of subs as me, sort of high 30s, 40s. Look today, I think he's gone over 100,000. His is all predominantly tech based, but he does the odd travel thing when him and his wife go away on holidays and stuff. Who else do I watch? Unbox Therapy, MKBD, Marcus, what's his face? Marcus somebody. I watch a lot of the tech stuff just because I like gadgets. So why not? And there's a couple of other channels that I like to watch. Hang on, let me have a quick look on. I've got them saved on my old YouTube doodah. I'll rattle off a couple of names if people want to have a look. Obviously, Chase on Two Wheels, the 44 Teeth Boys. Gene Nagata, he is brilliant. Potato Head, that's his name.
Okay.
Mate, awesome. Peter McKinnon, geez, who else is that? Matti Hapoja. There's loads that I like looking at, to be honest.
It's nuts. There's so many of these guys that like you've mentioned all these guys and I've not heard them, and I've probably mentioned a few there and you're like, who the hell are you talking about? And these guys are like millions of subscribers, and like it's absolutely nuts. There's probably like 100 people, maybe not, like there's probably 2,000 people like me doing this shit where we just do stuff in our garage.
There's probably 10 times that. Easily 10 times that. It's something.
Nuts.
It's something crazy.
Nuts.
Like it's something crazy. Like, is it 6 million hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every single? It's either every day or every hour. It's an obscene amount of content that is just constant, and it's growing and growing and growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You just can't. Like for me now, I can't just sit and look at YouTube videos anymore, and I feel guilty.
You need to make it. You're producing the content.
Yeah.
So that we can watch you.
But I'm literally, it'll be like my eyes have gone square. I can't stare at my screen editing anymore. Oh, I'll watch a YouTube vid.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the editing?
Love it. I hate it and I love it. I hate the first part, bringing all your footage in, putting it all there, and then working your way through it, chopping out all the key, getting the bits that you want. But then the last stage for me, once I've got all the content that I want, and then it's a question of chopping stuff out, rearranging stuff, sorting out your lighting, sorting out the colour correction, your audio levels, getting the music in there. When you bring it together into your final piece, I love that bit. That sort of last day, I love that. Yeah.
Do you watch your own videos again, or do you?
No.
Do you publish it? And I'm the same. I publish it and then go, I'm done. Next. Can't watch it. Too cringy.
I shouldn't say this, but by the time my vid is done, I haven't sat and watched the final thing from start to finish, because I've probably sat and gone through that, without exaggeration, maybe 100 times in the last week, just constantly going through it, and I'm just like, I'm done now.
Please just upload. Please be popular.
It is weird, isn't it? As soon as you hit publish,
please go viral.
As soon as you hit publish,
8 views.
It's like you're
I've
fishing.
made it.
Oh, please, why is no one
Thanks,
watching?
Mum and Dad. You must have told Aunt Joyce and Uncle Alan about my new video.
Oh man, like me, Missing and Flyer, Lamb Chops, and Richie Vida, we have our little WhatsApp group, and man, like, I have the least amount of views out of everybody. I don't get the views that the other guys get. My subscriber count's good, and the growth is good, but I don't get anywhere near the views that they get. And it's like, I'll go, oh man, this video's done really well. I've got 8,000 views, 8,000 views in a day. Oh my God, that's insane. And Missing and Flyer, Andy's like, oh, I've only had 20,000 this morning. I'm not happy. And it's like, what?
That's nuts. Like
I'd be cartwheeling down the road.
It's the scalability of that, isn't it? And it's all in perspective. But 8,000 people want to sit and have a chat with you, or have given you their time to listen. Phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's and like these things, like these podcasts where you just get like handsome bearded men on to like chat to you for a while, and you groom them for a bit. I don't know how it works, but like people are obviously sit and listen to that and really, really enjoy it. That's cool. That's really good.
The podcast's weird because it doesn't get views. It doesn't get many. The views, the videos don't get many views at all. One or two do, like the 44 Teeth ones do, because they're a popular bunch of people. Peter Hickman actually didn't get many views to begin with, which I couldn't figure out. It's like he's the world's fastest road racer. Why would you not want to watch this? But it's I think people are put off by the 2.5 hour long vids.
They'll see it as a commitment initially, I think. But the way your bin men guy that put the comment on, that's a good way to listen to it. You just
definitely
put it on in the background and listen to it, and zone in and zone out. Like you don't have to listen to it all for 2.5 hours. It just what they're chatting about now. Oh, cool. That's quite good.
Absolutely. And I'm, a couple of people are sick because it does harm your analytics, because YouTube works on lots of different factors, doesn't it? And viewer retention is one of them.
Yeah.
So YouTube wants to see you hit at least 50% viewer retention before it starts going, that's a good video, there's other factors, but we're going to promote that. Whereas for me, on a podcast, it's about maybe 20%.
Yeah.
Because 20% of 2 hours is, what's that, 12, 15 minutes, something like that? Whatever that is, I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Hang on, a fifth of 40 minutes.
24 minutes.
Is that? No.
Is that not right?
I can't.
I don't know. Yeah, 120 minutes times 2, 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Sheesh. What he said.
It's these Strathclyde boys who just don't know how to count.
Yeah, but I can drink a beer. It's like 24 minutes of someone sitting watching your video. Most people would bite your hand off for that, but because it's only like 15 or 20% of your video that they've watched, YouTube will mark you down for it. but
Yeah.
they'll also mark you up because someone sat and watched 15
The
to 20,
collective time
25
is,
minutes.
it's a lot of time.
So
for
but
sure.
then you don't get the views that, say, a bike review vid will get, you know. So
Yeah.
it's a difficult one. It's almost like the YouTube algorithm doesn't know what to do because
It's kind of what Chase was saying, though, is treating them as independent businesses
Aye.
as such. Like, your podcast is your podcast,
Yeah.
and that's your bike reviews may be really popular. But they may take longer to make, or
Yeah.
like there's an element where you go, that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. And
yeah.
you must. There's to be elements that you enjoy from the podcast as well. That regardless of how well they perform and everything else,
Yeah.
if your true fans watch all of it and they find more people and get enjoyment out of it as well, then that's
I
that's
love
a
this.
boost.
I love.
Yeah.
I can talk, as you've probably figured out.
Yeah.
I love this. I love long form conversation, especially now because you know we're starved of it at the moment, really, especially. But I love this. I love meeting people. I love chatting with people, and just chucking the shit with people, just having a laugh, having a joke, chat about things that are we've got common interests. There's other things, mechanics I've not got the faintest idea, but I'm interested to hear about it, and I love this side of it, but then I also love riding a bike, and I love going on my trips, and I love the cinematography side of it. I'd love to be better at the cinematography side of stuff.
Take a team with you and do it. Like, otherwise you're stopping every 5 minutes and taking...
that's the annoying bit. It's okay when you're by yourself, but like for me, I take people away on trips, and you just can't stop, ride by, go back, get the camera. You can't do that, so it's difficult.
I like your ride reviews are good. Like, you don't have to get off your bike to make engaging content on a bike either. Like, you do this is the bike, and then you give it a pretty true opinion about it, and then you stop and talk about it, and like without, you don't have to go and take that. Maybe your panning shots and your cool shots are the ones that you stop, but I mean, you've got good quality cameras here, there, and everything when you're riding around, and that's cool as well. Like, the content that's engaging is you speaking about your bike, and that's what people want to listen to. And you zooming along the roads. I mean, you should be in Scotland where the roads are a lot better. But I mean, apart from that, like it's all really good to watch.
The thing everyone keeps telling you, it's consistency with YouTube, and it really is. It's like my style of vids don't get as many views as a different style of vid might, but then my style of vid attracts people who are expecting a 20-25 minute long vid, so they're in for the long game. Most people, not most, I would say 50% of the people that come and watch my vids are regular viewers, regular subscribers. So they tune in expecting to be sat there for 15, 20 or whatever minutes to watch a vid. Then you have the other people that go, oh, what's this on the thumbnail, click it, don't like you, click off, or click for 4 minutes, I'm bored now, click off. You're always going to have that, aren't
you? Get back here.
But you attract your own, over time, you attract your own little niche, your own wee community, don't you? And
for sure.
You can only be happy with that. It's just, it's a slow burner, YouTube. In our field, it's a slow burner.
This year is the first year that last year I had, the way I used YouTube last year was to record videos to host as a means for putting them through my guide. So I would say, right, here's a video as to what I've done next. Here's a video as to what I've done next. So
you're right for time? Sorry.
Yeah, 26 minutes. We'll do it in a couple of minutes. Well, it was a host for videos that I could link to. But this year is the first year that I've I've noticed I've done 8 videos so far on this build, and each time I feel they're getting better and better, but I find that more and more people are watching them each time. Even though it's episode 8 or episode 9, you're like, oh, cool, I've got more views that time, or I've got more followers or whatever. And you're right, it's an iterative process. It's really slow burning. I think there'll be a point where that just compounds, and right, we've got to 1,000 people, we've got to 2,000 people, and then it just keeps growing and growing.
That first 1,000 is hard.
Tough.
Really is hard. But then, so I found, like, all of a sudden I hit like 1,000, and the next thing I know, I went on Reddit. I posted something on Reddit, and I jumped to like 4,500 in the space of like a day,
shit.
2 days. And it's like, oh my god, this I've cracked it. And then there was nothing, nothing for months. It just like 10, went up 10, maybe 20 a month, and you're like,
yeah,
oh god,
yes.
and then all of a sudden you have a spike, and then it goes back, and then if you get you're watching your analytics, you'll get a spike, and then it will return to a sort of flat level, but that flat level will generally be just maybe a smidgen higher than the one before, and then 6 months down the line there'll be another spike, and then it just keeps doing that.
2 new followers. Yes, I've made it.
You just got to stick in, keep doing it. Right, what we at here? Sam Becker, who's inspiring you? What's your dream bike? Milk before cereal. Massive breakdown will kill us so. Oh wow, there's loads. Right, let's go with the first one. Who's inspiring you?
God, inspiration comes from all areas, I guess. Like you see a talented builder and you go, oh, that's cool. I'm trying to think at the moment. I follow people. I go in phases of following people. So I'll see Bike XF or Pipeburn or these media outlets will put a new bike out, and you go, wow, that's really cool. And you follow it, and you go, oh, that builder's actually quite a nice look. So there's a guy, Spencer Parr Motorcycles, and he's built a really nice, like 3 or 4 really, really nice bikes. And I think he's doing it full time now, but the bikes are like in a similar kind of ilk to my Scrambler, and you go, that's nice, and I know why I like that, because he takes his nice attention to detail. He picks nice bright colours for his bikes and everything else, and he doesn't. Don't want to sound. He doesn't do anything revolutionary in terms of manufacturing techniques or anything else. He just puts together a really nice bike, and he's probably a few years ahead of me in terms of skill set. So it's like an aspirational thing where you're like, I know I can be there, or I get the feeling that I know I can go into develop a bike like to that kind of level, if that makes sense, or everything else. But I mean, in terms of everything else, your Instagram's the same. You've got loads and loads of people. You're just bombarded with new stuff and new fresh content every day.
Definitely.
All of that serves to inspire. I don't think there's anything one particular person does that I go, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do, because you end up copying and mimicking, and that's you. As a builder, you kind of want to find your own style.
Definitely.
Me personally, my own style is. I don't think I've done enough to kind of to understand that style yet. All I know that is I want a high degree of quality, and I want a loud, fast, badass bike. And if that's the brief that you want, then you build to that. And 3 or 4 bikes might look entirely different, but they all might still have a similar theme. So. Inspiration's a weird one. I think there was a documentary that was released last year, and they were showing it at the Bike Shed show, and it was Oil in the Blood, I think it was called, and it was this documentary on builders, and one of the guys was really down to earth, and he's like, the social media aspect of bike builders and the community that exists is such that you need to have a new bike every day for a headline. Like Pipeburn has 350,000 followers and Bike XF has 500,000 followers, and they need a new bike every single day. And the guy was like, I've just busted my ass for fucking 4 months building this masterpiece to get half a day in the spotlight. And then you're like, what's next? You move on, there's someone else. So there's so much getting done that it's hard to kind of zero in and say, you're the one that I'm going to inspires me. It's more just an amalgamation of there's so much cool shit getting done. Let's try and use that as a means of inspiration to do my own thing. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I want to use I'm not talented. I can't shape metal with my hands on an English wheel, but I know how to use CAD, and I know that I've got access to 3D printers, and I know how to work with composites, and I know so I know the things that I can do within my own skill set. And I can develop that more, but I'm not going to sit and do a 4-year apprenticeship. I might learn that stuff on the side, but I'm not going to sit and do a 4-year apprenticeship so I can shape this big cowling that goes over my bike. I know I will pick the things that I know that I can turn into and take my vision and turn it into something cool, if that makes sense. So the inspirations just comes from what you see rather than someone in particular, I think.
No, I get that. Like with me, I look at people on YouTube like Peter McKinnon. I look at him and I look at his production values, his cinematography, It's mind blowing. It's just stunning.
Yeah, it's phenomenal,
what he does.
isn't it?
And then there's people like there's another chap, American guy, Cody Warner, and like his positivity. He does a lot of vlog stuff and tutorial type vids. But his positivity that he puts across in it is just, and Peter's the same. Peter McKinnon's the same. They're really positive people. You know, there's just, it's just inspiring to watch their content. And then, so, I don't mean to blow smoke up his arse, but Andy, Missenden Flyer, I look at him and what he's done, and I am inspired by that because his work ethic is phenomenal. People don't appreciate the amount of graft that man's put in over the last 3 or 4 years. It's phenomenal. So, you know,
I like his videos. I've watched a lot of his videos. I enjoy them. They're quite, like you say, they're one of these things you put on and you go, that's a nice review. It's inoffensive. He tells you a bit about a bike. You're like, cool, I didn't know about that bike before, and it's nice.
I've always said technical. If you want to know the technicalities about a bike, then you watch Missenden Flyer. If you want the sort of the hooligan aspect with the technical aspects, then you watch like Lamb Chops, you know, because you know he'll be wheeling the bike down the road whilst he's telling you about all the technical side of it. And if you want someone talking about does it tickle your danglies, you watch me. If you want to watch the sort of cinematic videography style of things and the beautiful photography, then you watch Richie Vida. You know, there's like a for my stuff, motovlogging, there's a different channel that caters for any particular niche that you want.
There's absolutely. There was that, because I got into a while, I don't know, was it Snowcat, a guy in the States? Yeah, and I ended up getting to him for ages. And then you're like, he gets into all these altercations, you're like, I think there's an element of that you probably could have avoided that altercation or whatever, and that's fine, whatever, but it's
I
funny
stopped
how
watching it because of that.
Same deal. I was like, man, if you didn't drive like such a dickhead, or like people might not necessarily react. Like there's two to every party really, and so same. I used to watch him quite a lot, and his videography was good, and he had the drone, and he did all that kind of shit, and it was quite cool. But I stopped watching him as well. But but it's funny, you watch like, and you talk about YouTubers like Jish does some phenomenal videography, and it's really good. And
who's that?
I'm not that kind of guy. Jish. I think that's his YouTube, but he does like loads of stuff. But he's building the bike, and he's got a bit of a following as well. So some similar size to you, and his videography is so good. Like you watch a video and you're like, so artistic. And I don't have the time or the inclination to film that many shots. I'd rather sit and chat shite to the camera and then have a few cutaways and say, this is the way you do it. And I've tried to make this artistic as possible. Here you go, enjoy it. But then you look at the guy, Classic Octane, and he's about as ham-fisted as I am with a camera, and he does well with it. He does it full time. So I think you're absolutely right. There's an audience for every YouTuber, and it's finding that audience that wants to sit and watch you. And in my case, chat shite and ruin perfectly good motorbikes.
And I think a lot of the time we are our worst critics, and you know you pick fault with your own production values a lot of the time, and I'll spend days trying to sort sound, trying to sort like the colour grading, and I can never get it right, and I think, oh, this is horrendous, this is terrible, it changes from each shot. And in the end, you just post it up. Nobody, about 2 people might notice, you know what I mean? Everyone else just sits and watches it, and you're like, oh. And that's where
watching
people
it with my welding mask. God, this colour grading is so awful. This latest video, I can't believe you submitted this.
But it was something that Andy TMF said to me. He was just like, just get the content out there. He said, just get it out there. Just film it, record it, edit it, get it out there. And he said, the vast majority of people out there, they're not bothered. They're not expecting Hollywood style production values. Just get the content out there. Let them see what they want to see.
Is your audio good enough to listen to? And it's something I learned because of one truthful comment that told me was your autofocus sounds like I'm getting bored in the head with a fucking drill. And I was like, thank you. Did you watch the rest of it? No, I couldn't. I was like, okay, well, thanks. I'll sort my autofocus. Thank you for that, sir.
Yeah.
But like, if it's clear enough and you can listen to it, then the vast majority of humans will watch it if it's engaging, if the content's engaging. So
that really makes me feel sick, because some of that shit I've just filmed in the garage just now, the audio is terrible. I've spent the last 2 days trying to sort it in post.
No, I can't watch that. I'm sorry. No one else will watch it either. That's
It's
awful.
terrible.
You've wasted your time.
I've even had to do a little pit to camera to say I'm really sorry about the audio in this, and even the audio in that is shit. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Right, Sam's got quite a few questions there. Let's batter through a couple of them. Milk before cereal? Yes or no?
No, cereal first, you psychopath.
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay. Do you drink tea or coffee?
I mean, I do drink tea, but I love a coffee.
Do you have milk in either? Okay. In your tea, do you have milk in your tea?
Are you going to ask me if I put milk in first?
Yeah.
I don't, but should I?
Yes.
See, Guy Martin spoke about this, saying, he was on one of his shows, he spoke about you should put milk in first, and here's why.
It's true.
Why does it not cool the tea bag down so it doesn't diffuse as much?
You just need just a splash of milk. You hardly need any at all. Just a wee splash of milk, drop the tea bag in, then the water on the top of it. Bosh, let it stew. Oh.
I get made fun of because I drink baby tea, even though I'll drink like 3 or 4 double espressos before I wake up. And I'll have like, put lots of milk in that, please. And they're like, what? Why are you drinking baby tea? And I'm like,
God, no.
Shut up.
I'm a coffee man. A black coffee, that's what I drink.
Yeah.
But, my missus lives on tea.
I love coffee. I've got a friend up here in Aberdeen that in his off time from offshore, he roasts his own coffee. His name's Kilted Coffee, and he just... I can't remember. It was an Instagram ad, and he just...
I've seen him on Insta, yeah.
I was like, yeah. I tag him quite a lot, and he's doing really well. Like he's just getting popular, more and more popular. But his coffee is great. It comes from a guy that's local. It's nice to just sit and have someone that you're like... So when he first started out, he sent me coffee. The grind was too fine. He was like, I'm just starting out. Do you mind coming up with your espresso machine, because you've got the same as like at least 100,000 other people in the country have got. So if we can get it working with yours, then it will work with everyone. I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. If I can see your facility and have loads of coffee, then why the hell not? So we sit and refined like the grind that he needed. But I think I had about 10 espressos over the space of 2 hours. So I was driving home like
80 million miles an hour.
We've got this plan to just buy a bike with a sidecar and shove a coffee machine in it and get some pastries and just sell his coffee, and I'll sell my merch and just shoot the shit. Go to a random spot somewhere and
job done.
Like whether it's down the beach in Aberdeen or everything else, and just like set up a mobile coffee shop so you could just get loads of bikers to sit and shoot the shit and have a chat, and just as an excuse to go somewhere. So, and we're going to try and work that, I think, in the next few years, just when there's time and everything else.
Do it.
It would be good fun. Good little business proposition there. So, see how it goes.
Okay, following on from coffee, beer or coffee?
Beer, man. Beer. Yeah, beer. Let's be honest. It's got to be beer.
Okay, beer or whiskey?
Ooh, I like a beer. Like, I love whiskey, but I really like beer. Like, there's so many different variations on beer. Like, yes, whiskey, you get an Isla peated, or you get a Speyside that's a bit lighter. There's loads of differentiations in whiskey, but there's so much beer. Like, try Belgian beer. It's awesome. Try like
puts me to
porters.
sleep.
I love it. I try to get a big. So this is Sam Adams tonight, but I try to get a big bottle of triple Carmelite for tonight, just because it's one of my favourites, and they were selling it at Tesco's just because it's so good. But yeah, same deal. It's a 9%. Tastes like.
Looks like a bucket of dishwater, doesn't it?
Jeez, but it's good. But yeah, probably beer. How about you?
What, beer or whiskey? Whiskey for me is an end of night. That's at the end of the evening drink. You know, like I've had some beers, we've had a Barbie, I'll have a whiskey, get a couple of lardies on the go, and just sit, chill, smoke my cigars. Job done. Yeah, I like that. Social, like that.
Yeah.
Beer is having a laugh with my mates, and then to chill the evening out, a couple of whiskies.
Yeah.
Or a bottle.
So both. Yeah, why not both, Sam? Why didn't you ask that in the questions?
Yes, Sam.
Yeah, god damn it.
Right, last one of Sam's questions. Favourite tool in the workshop? Other than yourself, obviously.
Yeah. Ooh. I think God, it's a difficult one. I find myself buying more to allow me to do more recently. So like I bought a nice TIG welder because I wanted to build my own pie cut exhaust, but I also wanted to build a pie cut exhaust, so I needed to buy a nice bandsaw to do all those cuts. And I've got them. That's fine. They're mine, and they're not gonna. But those are tools that I've bought to do a specific task. To be honest, I have been given a set of 10 3/8 drive socket set it came with spanners as well. So I got given this kit when I was 18 from my parents, and I've used it flat out relentlessly for the past 12 years, just working on shit, and it's not giving up. I use it every single time I go into the garage. I will use this ratchet, a good quality ratchet, and tools and spanners and everything else. So that toolkit is probably my favourite toolkit because it means so much. You got given this toolkit, and I was like, why the hell do I want this? I'm 18 years old. I want beer. I want whiskey, and I've used it more than anything. So that's probably my favourite. That and an angle grinder to cover up my shitty welds. That's quite a good one as well. But especially with rubber gloves, though, because I love the danger that comes with it.
Well, that's purely for you. This question is not for me because I don't know what I'm doing in the garage in the slightest. my favourite tool in my workshop is the door in and out, so I can get to the beer fridge. I
should get a beer fridge for my garage, shouldn't I?
I'm surprised you haven't got one. What are you doing?
That's a good shout. So an Indian FTR 1200 and a beer fridge.
Brewdog, customised beer fridge.
Fully stocked by Brewdog. James Watt, you better be listening.
Right, next one. Alan B1. What does your dream garage look like? The garage, not the vehicles in it.
Yeah, so I wrestle a lot with space in my garage. So first of all, it'll be big enough that I can have multiple bikes in it. It will have a ramp in it. It will have... So weirdly, I do kind of plan this out. I'm quite weird that at the start of the year...
drawing of what your place is going to look like.
I think about like what do I need to spend money on next? What can I have? And there's the high priority and there's a low priority. So in the dream garage, we'd have a mill, a lathe, a pillar drill, a linisher, some good quality bench grinders and polishers, sandblaster, 3D printer, like all these kind of stuff, and a good toolbox, nice workbenches, and a bike lift. And to be honest, if you can't build a bike with that, then there's something seriously wrong. Like that's literally everything I think you would need. Maybe an English wheel to bend metal, but like for the most part, you could probably. Yes, I have thought about that. That's probably why I was able to rattle that off quite quickly.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I have my perfect garage now. I've got it. We built it. It was part of the deal of getting the work done on the house. Was right. I designed my garage, and I sort of swung that by my wife by saying, well, she's got an old VW, Type 2 VW camper van.
Yeah, you were saying that.
So I was like, well, if we build a bigger garage, then we can get the camper van in there. And that's your investment, and it's out the rain. Well, it backfired a bit because my beautiful garage has now got a camper van in it, which takes up half the garage. So I'm left with the front is, I've still got a good sized normal single garage, well, just over a single garage, but I've got at least 2 bikes in there, and if I get loan bikes, then there can be 3 or 4 bikes in there. And I, in my head, I had the back part where the camper van is, that in my head had a couch and a big screen telly and somewhere to do my filming. You could be down there right now filming the show right now.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So in my head, that's what my garage looks like. I can't complain. It's still a nice little space. I just need to sort my shit out and get rid of stuff.
Do you think so? You're based. Where are you based now? Are you down outside London?
Yeah, I am. There's a town called Maidstone in Kent. It's about 40 miles from Dover, from the Channel Tunnel.
Yeah.
So it's sort of halfway in between London and Dover, more or less. Sort of halfway is where I am. Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever move back to God's country?
Yeah, no, definitely. My wife's from sort of Retford in England, and she loves up in Scotland, particularly where my brother is. Where I'm going tomorrow is up.
You said it was Lochgarn Head, Comrie.
Just sort of west of Crieff. That way, follow that road. We love it. We love it there. It's beautiful, stunning. She loves it, but my wife's old Bill. She does the same as I used to in Diplomatic. So she wants to get her 20 years in. You get a little medal when you hit 20 years. So she wants to get that in. There's a few things she wants to do. So we're probably next 3 to 5 years we'll look at selling up and moving up. I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You'll buy a castle in Comrie or along there with the house prices down there versus up in Scotland.
Well, I mean, we're very lucky. We kept hold of our. Well, I have a flat that I rent out, and she has a flat that she rents out. So we managed to keep hold of them, but they've both still got mortgages on them. So
yeah,
they might be worth a lot, but the mortgage is fucking hefty. So
I bet
we might get away with a wee bit in the bank when we move north. We'll have to see. Yeah, see what happens.
Sweet.
Yeah. I've just seen this next question. Alan B1. What's another one from Alan? You can punch any one person without repercussions. Who do you choose and why? Wow.
Christ.
I know. Crikey.
That's a strange one. There's I don't know. I used to be quite an angry dude. I'm not really an angry dude now. I'm kind of chill. Like,
I'm the same. Yeah.
Don't know what happened. Just a few years ago, I was like, I would get in the car and I'd be quite angry, and there was more to life. Like losing your rag's not cool. It's not really that. Don't know. I'm trying to think. I think if it had happened back in the day, we already would have punched them. So it's probably not a. I don't know, actually.
I'm the same. I can't. There's no one that springs to mind for me. You know, I'm the same. I just let it go now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm kind of take the high road a lot of times, or be the better man, or just things don't bother me that much. To get that worked up about. I don't know. I've
had a lot of people messaging me going, "Oh, do you know who?" You know, because somebody grassed me up. Another copper basically grassed me up to our internal affairs, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, do you know who it is? Do you want to find out? I bet you wish you could find out who it was. You do this, you do that." And I've always said, you know, A, I don't want to know, and B, they've actually done me a favour. They've actually kick-started me and given me a kick up the arse to do something actually, that I knew I had to do. So,
my parents' neighbour is a complete cock.
There we go.
He's an asshole. He won't watch this, but if I could punch him repeatedly in the face, time and time again, I would happily. Never. Oh, he's a total dickhead. And that's like the one thing that just pisses me off no end. I would love to go around to. He's just a dick. So yeah, that's. Can you grant me this wish? Actually, I'd like to go and if I had the opportunity, I would kick lumps out of him.
Do you want to name names? Feel free to name names.
Pat McDickhead, whatever his name is, I can't remember. He's yes, that's who I would punch repeatedly.
If you give the address, I'm sure someone will go around it. Don't give the address.
Yeah.
Someone will go around.
I know. Yeah, he's an asshole. So yeah, that's a good question actually. I was like, I'm so calm apart from this one time.
I'm Scottish. I'm the most chilled out man. I like to be the better man, but him, I'll fucking kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Prick.
Nice. Right, Whiff 71. Oh, sorry, no, that wasn't a question. Sorry, Whiff, that's not a question. He's just telling me to do something. Wait, what we got here? Okay. Dansky Mini, I think we've kind of touched this. If you had to buy any bike to keep in stock form, money no issue, what would it be?
And that's that whole, you see, like I think I had a little scan at this and I was like, man, what kind of questions are there? Like you see the Arch motorcycles, the one Keanu Reeves made, and he's just taken his vision, which is a cool cruiser but on steroids that can handle and do everything else. That's a cool bike. It's 80 grand. That's I'm not going to be spending that on a bike anytime soon. Like,
does look good though, doesn't it?
And that's a cool bike, and maybe it's something like that you hop on and you go, that's badass. But there's a huge gap between 12-15 grand for a nice bike to 80 grand for one of those kind of bikes. Do you know what I mean? That's a huge gap. So I don't know, like I've got a weird hard-on for this Indian right now, so I'd probably say I want to get my leg over one of them and try it and then see, and then my life will magically just turn into this amazing cloud that's just, I float along in this V-twin power for the rest of my life. Maybe that, I don't know. Times changed, like you say, you never thought you would get on a GS.
Never.
So, but now you love them. So
never say never, can you? You've got to wait and see. Roll with it, see what happens.
See what made me think. Man, those things are quite cool. Was that video of the 1,000-mile trip you did in Scotland, and you were out past back in, you were out, and then you were having such a great time. You were having sports bike type passing power with the comfort of something that just
they're phenomenal. They are, but
brilliant.
Then that's not exclusive just to the GS. All the big adventure bikes now. Even I would say for me, the Triumph's at the bottom of that list, but the Triumph's still a bloody good bike. It's just more refined. It's sort of smoother about how it does it. It's not quite got the oomph.
Is that still a 3-cylinder, the Triumph?
That
one.
Triple,
because the
1200.
Tiger was isn't it? It's a triple.
And then you got the GS, and then sort of above for me, it would go Triumph at the bottom, GS, then the Multistrada, 1260 Multistrada, which is just phenomenal. The sound is amazing, but I couldn't live with it. And then the KTM Super Adventure,
1290 thing.
Yeah, 1290. It's phenomenal. It's just an amazing bike. But the reason I don't buy one is KTM's always got that reliability issue, which any bike has. But it's the fact that when something goes wrong, which it'll go wrong with a Beamer, no doubt as well, but when something goes wrong, the Beamer has this sort of across the board, this customer care, this customer service. You can turn up at any BMW place, you know what you're getting. They're going to look after you. Generally, in my experience, they look after you. Whereas with KTM's, it's potluck. Depends what dealership you get. So, I mean, there'll be a load of people going, "Oh, I had a BMW and I had horrendous treatment," but
it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've got that many people, you're never going to get the same. I have heard KTMs are notoriously suffer from reliability issues, which it is what it is, I guess, right? But the same Ducatis can sometimes have horrendous issues, and so can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it happens, doesn't it? It just happens. But for me,
you don't hear about the vast majority of people that haven't had horrendous issues.
No, exactly.
That's the other side of it. So
exactly. And for me, it's how is it dealt with? How's the problem dealt with when you have a problem? That's the big.
They remedy it quickly.
I just had a quick look at some of these Instagram questions. There's some corkers here. So
there was a few from like Tom. My friend
Barrick.
Tom asked.
I've just seen it. It's brilliant.
Who's your best friend, and why is it Tom and not Rick?
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, at the end of it, yeah. Favourite friend, and why is it Tom and not Rick? Right, okay, Tom Barrick. How do you balance perfectionism with managing expectations due to budget and time?
So, I mean, that's where I have the luxury that I am in charge of my own builds. I'm not running this as a business, I'm running this as me building a bike for myself. So I think you're absolutely right. There's an element that I can't sit and agonize over how a weld looks underneath a battery box. It's going to get covered up and no one ever sees. But there's an element of pride that goes into making sure that you can do the best you can do. So trying to find that balance. So I've not found that balance yet. I still err on the side of. So that's why the Scrambler, for example, I could sit and point out 5 things that I'm not happy with, and you could look at it and go, what are you talking about? There's like, I can't see that. And I'd be, yeah, but look at this. Look at this little bit here. And that's where that I need to try and find a balance. And do I think I'll ever build bikes for people and sell them? If I do, I'll have to find a way to manage that, because I would bankrupt myself spending 3 to 4 hours agonizing over a detail that literally no one will really care about unless they are a similar ilk than me, and if they are like me, then they're probably building their own bike and doing it themselves. Do you know what I mean?
That's interesting. That sort of, I wonder if that runs into Tom's next question. He says the skill you are most in awe of, is that people's ability to just, draw a discreet veil over something and move on?
I think there is, but then me personally. So there's a guy I speak to quite a lot. His name's LC Cycle Works. He's a really cool dude, mechanical engineer, and the bikes that he's built are phenomenal. And he's taken a shine into speaking to me, and I really enjoy it, because he's really enjoying. He's one of my biggest followers on YouTube and Instagram, and watches all my videos. But he's a way more talented builder than I am. But he's where I would like to see myself in the next 5 years, because he's time served on the mill and the lathe and everything else, and he goes, I'll make this, and but his attention to detail is phenomenal. And I think if him and I were to look at a bike where someone's just said the ability to turn around and say that's not as perfect as it should be, we would both look at it and go, that's a shame that they didn't spend the time to do that. But that's a characteristic of us. Is the guy that's paying 18 grand for a bike going to look at that and see that? Probably not. They might not notice it. I don't know. It's a weird one. I think the skill I'm most in awe of is like guys able to just TIG weld things really, really nicely, and that's why I bought a TIG welder, because I wanted to learn that, and that's why I'm trying to build a pie cut exhaust, because I wanted to learn that. But the guys that have that skill, that skill where they've TIGged day in and day out, and they're able to just do these stack of dime type welding that looks really, really neat. It's brilliant, and
it's a work of art.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better, but I'm nowhere near. Like I know that I'm gonna probably ultimately fuck up a nice stainless steel exhaust that I've built for my bike, because I'm going to blow holes through it and do other stuff. But if I didn't do that, I would...
coming?
Yeah, so the fire pit's finished. I painted it last night. Yeah. So that was a little challenge to myself to try and just get better at welding. So that was finished. We're going to have a barbecue on Friday with some people around, so we're going to try and use that as the inaugural burning of the fire pit. So I hope it doesn't fall apart.
Look what I built, bang.
Yeah, exactly.
Joseph Worrell, will you be heading back to the Bike Shed show with something new next year?
I would. So this year I didn't have a bike ready in time for it. That's fine. And to be honest, I was quite stressed after last year. I would like to think my bike will be finished, the one I'm working on, in time for next year. And I think the way I'm building this bike is that it will be another show bike to a higher level of finish. So I would like to try and get it into the bike show next year. Cool. And it would be cool to have a bike there next year and just speak to all these guys again and have a bit more time just to sit and shoot the shit with all these followers that have watched it, because the following's going to be bigger next year. And so I'd like to try and get a bike down there again. It was great fun. It's a good show. The atmosphere is phenomenal. Some people may not appeal to everyone, but to me it's not really a bike show. It's more just it's more culture than it is bike show. There's good music, good beer, and it's a good show. So I think I'll have something there next year for sure, if they want me.
Nice.
If I get accepted.
Yeah, I've not been up yet to have a look at it. I went to the Bike Shed a few years ago, but I've never done the
show's worthwhile for sure. It's definitely worth a visit, just for a day, just to the good beer, good food, good bikes. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's definitely worth a visit.
I'll have to pop up next year then. Come see you. Right, Jan Beckett. J and J Beckett. Question for Struan: is retro done? Do you think the custom bike scene has to go through another step change to stay fresh? If so, what? Or will retro run and run?
I think the fact that manufacturers are literally making bikes retro now is a sign that people want to relive that that cool, the retro coolness. Like, I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I think if more manufacturers offered more, you would see more of them on the road. Like there's more and more people that are releasing retro bikes, but I think that's because there's a demand for them. So I think from a custom point of view, it becomes more difficult to try and make something unique in retro, because there's a certain way that you can make, like, you put wire wheels on it, you put a simple tank on it, you do it, like, it's hard to change the formula for retro. It's going to be a difficult thing to try and be unique in a land of retro, but I don't think it's done. I think it's the fact that it's proven so popular, and manufacturers are releasing retro. Royal Enfield has reinvigorated itself pretty much by capitalizing on retro. Ducati have discovered an entirely new market in the past 5 years based on releasing the Scrambler, which is a retro Scrambler. I think more manufacturers will realize this, and will start making Scramblers like they used to back in the olden days, and they'll provide them with big engines and everything else. I think I don't think it's done yet, and I think it'll be around for a while. Personally, based on my knowledge as a
No, I mean it's true though, isn't it? You look at the likes of Triumph. I mean,
they thrive on the fact that
just a resurgence in their brand, and it's predominantly based around their sort of retro custom cafe racer style of bikes. Hugely cool, popular bikes that people just want to be seen on. It's phenomenal, and I think it's got legs before it dies off. I mean, I think in the mid '90s, late '90s, there was all these Street Fighter style bikes, and yes, there's still people that love them. But that's purely based on a personal preference. I think maybe the appealability of the retro brand is that it maybe it's more marketable. It appeals to more people. Someone can look at a bike and go, "Oh, that's quite cool. It's quite old, but it's not, and it's got good braking, and it's got the power of today's bike." The same way that, like, some of these Singer Porsches and these rebranded high-end classic cars are marketed as it's a retro car, but it's got everything you need in today's braking all the modern
and
gizmos,
performance. Exactly. So.
J&J Beckett, he's got all the rest of the questions. There's about 6 questions that they've put in here. One of them I don't quite get. He said, what genre of joke is being totally missed by the custom scene and deserving of attention? I don't get that. Is that something I've missed?
I don't know. Pass.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
I think it's probably quite a serious scene. Maybe that's the fact that there's not a lot of, everything seems serious. There's not a lot of people joking around in the custom scene, to be honest. But maybe that's because I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say there's a huge amount of laughs. It's quite a serious thing, which can sometimes be like, until you actually realise that and say it out loud, you're like, actually, there's not a huge amount of, unless I'm blatantly missed another huge chunk of YouTube or otherwise that I've not noticed yet. But in my humble opinion, I feel that it seems quite serious.
Right,
there's not any of the articles you see aren't tongue in cheek. It's not very. It's all, this is the bike and this is what they did to it, and then they did this. You're like, all right, cool. Was there anything else? Was it like, did they have fun doing it? Did they do it? Like, it's quite. This is what happened. Okay, cool.
Do you watch Chase on Two Wheels?
No, but I will now. After there was this really good interview that happened last week with this guy.
It's with this legend, Teapot something.
Mr. Teapot, I think his name was.
He's got this series called Wreck Bike Rebuild, where basically they take like a Cat C. Is it Cat C? An insurance write-off bike. They take one of them in the States, and then basically they rebuild it, totally customize it, document the whole series through. The whole build throughout a series, and at the end of it, it's given away to one of his Patreon followers, which I'm not entirely sure how he does, but it's given away to one of his followers basically. And it's really good. He's got sort of two separate edits that go on. He's got the long form edit that's just literally step by step, which is all for Patreon. So there'll be an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours long each episode, and then a condensed sort of shorter 20-minute, half-hour long one for YouTube. But it's really good because him and he's got the sort of master technician there, Brian, who's the guru, and he basically overlooks.
That was the guy with the big beard, wasn't it?
Yeah, big guy with the big beard, yeah. And he sort of overlooks what Chase is doing. He sort of lets Chase make mistakes and do stuff, but steps in before he totally fucks it up. And then obviously now he's got his own production team, his own cameraman and sound guy that film everything. So Chase can concentrate totally on the build, and it's really good because you see the whole human dynamic of it. They're having fun, they're enjoying it, but they get pissed off with each other as well, and their tempers fly, and then right, okay, let's chill and get back into it, crack a joke. It's just I didn't think it would be something I would like, to be honest, but I follow Chase on Patreon. I'm one of his patrons, so I started watching them, and it's really good. It's really good. Yeah. It's made me start thinking
behind the scenes type realism that I guess comes with that. You don't do everything perfect each time.
Exactly.
You mess it up. Some of the shit that I've done that I'm glad it's not on camera because I feel like a total retard, but like the aftermath is like me kicking stuff all over my garage because I've imagine that was on camera. People would be like, I've been there, man, I've been there, I know exactly what you've done.
I think that is the beauty, or was the beauty of YouTube, which perhaps is being lost on a lot of channels because production values are getting so good now. People are losing that sort of human amateur nature,
gritty type. Absolutely.
That used to be
the raw
for me,
feeling that you're just documenting your life and you're just
that was the attraction for me for YouTube, was that there was no glitz, glamour or shit. That is how it is. Whereas now, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I edit out some bits now as well, and I sort of consciously make the decision.
This whole podcast will be like 10 minutes long. Like, not wrong, out, gone.
But then that's where these podcasts for me are brilliant, because people see what we're like. This is what we're just having a conversation.
It's good.
That is how you are. So I like that. Some people don't, but I do. And I like that kind of thing in a video.
There's a human element that's typically lost, I think, under a sea. Even Instagram, you see it. There's a sea of life how you expect it to be versus how life actually is.
Yeah, expectation versus reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Instagram's horrendous for that, isn't it?
It is. But weirdly, it's one of my favourite communities in terms of the people that I have speaking to me and everything else.
Definitely.
The way that I get viewers is through my Instagram rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
But you're right, like on the whole, or it's just some bird like taking a sexy photo and using it as an excuse to preach some bollocks that makes literally no sense other than the fact she felt good that day. So we'll put some meaningful stuff on.
I mean, fair play to them. I get annoyed in the biking world, in the sort of the moto Instagram world. Women rule, man. They rule.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Who are you going to rather look at? Me and you, or some good-looking woman who's got a nice bum or nice testicles standing next to a bike.
We already follow them, so I mean,
what I mean? Exactly. It's you can't compete with that sort of stuff. So
I know.
Yeah. Oh well. Never mind.
It's tough shit. You could have 400,000 followers, but you don't. So get
nearly got 9,000. Nearly. All I want is to hit 10,000 and get that swipey uppy thing. That's all I want. So if you're not following Instagram, please follow. Let me get the swipey uppy thing, please.
I don't know about you. So if I click on someone, because I use an iPhone and everything I do is over.
Other brands are available.
Yeah, indeed. But everything I do is through Google Chrome, but if I click on a link in Instagram, it will open up Safari.
All right.
And my Safari is not logged in to my YouTube, therefore it's not on my account, and I can't subscribe straight away. And I feel I'm not the only person that's got that. So
Yeah.
if I want to go and follow someone, I will typically find that video, and if I really like it, I'll go and find it on my phone,
Yeah,
on the
I'm the
YouTube
same.
app, and then I'll find it. But
I'm the same.
you being able to do that should hopefully it will get people to your site, but hopefully they've got it. There's maybe a trick missing where people are the same as me and they go, right, I use my YouTube app rather than Safari, but my iPhone tries to open Safari for YouTube, and they won't subscribe straight away. Or do you know what I mean? It's maybe something that's it's worth. Hello, Brian. That's a good question.
Brian. Yeah, that's the point. That happens with me as well. Yeah, that happens with me all the time. I'm the same. If I click on a link or do the swipey uppy thing and it opens up my Safari, I have to go onto my YouTube app to find that same video and then subscribe.
Yeah, it's a shame because there's a discrete amount of time where you won't give a shit as well, where you're like, unless this is one of TeapotOne's new videos that I can go and have a look at.
He's a legend, I've heard. Absolute legend.
I hear he's quite cool. You should subscribe.
I believe he's ridden around the world.
I'm pretty sure you've subscribed.
Yeah, I'll need to have a look at that. Yeah, there might be a way of, I don't know. Anyway, that's something for me to have a look at. Yeah, that's all I want is swipey up. That's all I want. Swipey up on my Instagram. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can, if you go through, I don't know how you sell your t-shirts, but through WooCommerce, if you link it to your Facebook, you can then indeed look at that merch. There's some other merch here, by the way.
Remotorcycled. That's a good looking shirt, Struan. Where do you get them?
Look at that. There's a way where you can make a post and you can click on the post and it brings up a shoppable link, but you have to link. It depends how you sell your stuff, but if you link, so I sell my stuff through my shop through WooCommerce, so you can. So it's all automated. Like I don't hold any stock. It's all drop shipped and everything else. So I don't have to worry about holding anything. But you can link it to your Instagram so that if you put a post up wearing one of your t-shirts, you can make a sales post and someone could click on that post and it would take them directly to your website and the sales post. So I mean, it's I've not done it yet because I'm a lazy asshole and my drop shippers are suffering COVID badly, and they're like 3 weeks between an order and sending a t-shirt out. So it's sort of like
I'm lucky. My mate, I used to use like Spreadshirt and Teespring and all that sort of stuff, but I just found the quality wasn't consistent, and I had a couple of complaints from people about the print quality. So now I use a mate of mine, Roger and Charlotte over in Wales. They have a company and they handle everything for me now. So yeah,
good.
That's how that's all done. Mate, we are at almost 3 hours. 2 hours 50 minutes.
Holy shit.
I know, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
Jesus. We've not even gotten the whiskey yet. I'm just kidding.
The whiskey laddie's on the go. Mate, that's incredible. Well, at least we got to the Instagram questions this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
I just did
one. You don't even have to ask my mum's question, which was awkward as well, right? When are you getting your haircut?
I'll ask her later, don't worry. Too early?
Yeah. What did you just say?
I've seen what you bench and deadlift, mate. I'm keeping well away. Jeez. Dude, this has been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great.
Enjoyed it. Lee, thank you so much for introducing us, mate.
Man.
It's been brilliant.
Cheers, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. We should definitely, if you're up in Scotland and you're up this neck of the woods, definitely come and see me and we'll go out on the bikes and
you're on.
Get a
Let's
few
do
jars
it.
in.
Brilliant. Let's do it.
For sure, man.
You have to show me how you deadlift, man. Fucking hell. I'm well off the mark. Cool, man. Well, folks, listen, if you haven't checked out Struan's stuff yet, there'll be links all down below. If you're listening to the podcast, check out the show description. If you're watching the YouTube vids, check out the description down below. There'll be links to all of Struan's social media there, Instagram, website, YouTube. Are you on Facebook and Twitter and all that?
My
malarkey?
Facebook is pathologically awful in terms of following compared to everyone else. So yeah, I am, but it's bad. Please actually follow me and give me a like. Please follow me.
So check out all the socials down there and do what needs to be done. Like, follow, share, all the rest of it. Struan, before we go, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want to give a shout out to?
It's been great, man. If anyone feels the need to watch someone work on a motorbike and get a true honest reflection of it, then absolutely follow, come and speak to me, whatever. I'm more than happy to sit and chat you through. But
Mega.
yeah, it's been great, man. It's been a good chat. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, definitely, mate. We'll do it again. Definitely, let's do it again
Yeah, for
another
sure.
time. Awesome. Hopefully,
sure.
we'll get it done in person. We can have a few beers next time
absolutely,
in person.
indeed.
All right,
Indeed.
dude. Awesome.
All
Right,
right,
folks,
man.
keep doing your thing. Keep looking after those that you love. Get on out there. And most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Dude, loved it. Loved it.
Cheers.